too early to start talking playoff positioning? It's week 10 of 16, or do you really have to start thinking about it now?
Well, everyone's going to be thinking about it. I mean, as a coach, you can tell them, hey, let's worry about this week. But believe me, these guys know what the situation is, and they know they have to win a certain amount of games to get into those playoffs. So it's always in the back of your mind. But at the same time, you can't let it be a distraction. Don't let it be a distraction. They have a big job on their hands today against their Columbus, and they have to put all their focus and energy into that.
I think last week's game in Orlando, if there's such a thing as a good loss, could be a, I guess, eye-opener for this team, knowing that, yeah, 7-1, you go into a team that's 3-6. It's not automatic. You still got to play.
There's no question about it, Chris. There's nothing good about a loss. And I always tell my players, and Coach Hassett tells the team, hey, listen, one snap and clear, one game and clear. You can't dwell on it. Go in there, watch the film, learn from your mistakes, and then get on with life. You got to put it behind you and move on.
Well, that was especially true in the AFL because it's such a high-scoring game, especially for your defense. One snap, one play, and move on. We talk about these defensive backs. They've got to have thick skin, and New Orleans has some good ones. Monty Montgomery, Chris Pointer, Calvin Coleman, and the group. Well, Chris Pointer is back deep along with Aaron Bailey. 15 minutes on the clock. The Voodoo will receive first. Kicking off will be Steve Vitek for Columbus, and as he kicks it, we are underway. Sit back, relax, enjoy the action, folks. It's the Voodoo and Columbus Destroyers. Here's Bailey, taking 5, 10, 15, out to the 18-yard line before being tackled by a host of Columbus players, including Kendrick Jones. John Fitzgerald, the New Orleans quarterback, will come out and start for the Voodoo. 1st and 10 from an 18-yard line. There's 50 yards in AFL field, so of course he's 7 yards away from midfield. John Fitzgerald in 9 games this season, 142 completions on 260 attempts. That's a 54.6 percentage. 1,808 yards, 32 touchdowns against 6 interceptions. He will start 1st and 10 in motion right side, Lamont Moore. It'll go to Moore on the sideline. That's incomplete into the crowd over the hands of Moore, and it will be 2nd and 10 New Orleans.
John threw that ball behind that receiver there that he just couldn't make his play on.
2nd down and 10. Coach Mike New said today, look for Lamont Moore to have a big day for us today. We're going to use him quite a bit. Moore on the season, 2nd in receptions with 19. Aaron Bailey, the specialist, leading the way with 53 catches for 765 yards and 20 touchdown catches. Going deep is Fitzgerald, looking for Ira Gooch in the end zone. Gooch up for grabs, makes the catch, touchdown Voodoo! Oh, what a catch by Gooch!
That was a tremendous catch, and I tell you what, he was interfered with and still caught the football for a touchdown. Great concentration on his part.
Now that's how to start a football game. New Orleans did not score a touchdown last week, the entire first half in Orlando. We haven't even played 90 seconds, and the Voodoo strike first, go up 6-0.
And guys, he had to fight for that ball, believe me, because they were mugging him. They all went up for it.
Double coverage on Gooch by a pair of defenders, but Gooch says, I'm going to make this catch. He does it 6-0. Brian Schmitz, the kicker, finds good on the extra point, and the Voodoo strike first with a touchdown pass by John Fitzgerald that goes for 32 yards to Ira Gooch. This rookie started to come into his own, coach, and I'll tell you what, there's some injured receivers, Luke Leverson, Calvin Spears. They're going to have trouble getting back in the lineup the way Gooch has been playing.
Chris, I told you in our game against Carolina there a couple of weeks ago, I was impressed with Ira Gooch. I thought he was really coming on as a player, and here he is again today in the first 90 seconds of the game, and he's right back at it. Boy, he's a good young player.
No question about it. The rookie, he came in the season as the backup to offensive specialist Aaron Bailey. And to catch people up on Voodoo AFL 101, it's 8-on-8 football. You have 2 offensive specialists and 2 defensive specialists. The other 6 guys have to play both offense and defense, the other 6 positions. Well, on offense, obviously, one specialist is your quarterback. The other one is your wide receiver. So Aaron Bailey does not play defense. Ira Gooch, though, is learning how to play defense. So he doesn't have to sit on the bench and watch Bailey. He comes in as a receiver, and he'll go out there and play defense at the linebacker position. And Mike New has been coaching him on how to play defense and how to hold his ground. And that makes Ira Gooch a very important and very good weapon offensively for this team.
And that's another thing that's very difficult about arena football. A lot of these players have to play both ways, and that is not easy to do. That is not easy to do in modern-day football.
Hey, you another thing, guys. I think everybody will be giving him a hard time because it looks like Ira Goose has been working on his dancing, too. He kind of had that little Frankenstein type of thing going on that Tim Martin tried down here a few weeks ago.
He's probably been taking a couple lessons from my guy, Boo Williams, Kenny.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Boo's kind of sets the standard for touchdown dancing. They would, obviously a good series, good way to open this thing up. But you got to put it on, really got to look at Ira Goose. He really had to fight for that football, and he got it.
Schmitz will kick off from his own goal line. Off the end board, it's taken by Columbus. Cedric Robinson, the return man. Robinson breaks one up to the 15. Now he's tackled at about the 17. They'll start. Columbus, that is, right about where New Orleans started first and 10. Monty Montgomery with the tackle for New Orleans. He put a pretty good hurting on Robinson with that tackle. Montgomery is a hard hitter, and he showed it on the special teams as well. So the Columbus Destroyers will start in their first possession, first and 10 from their own 17. Ryan Benna, the rookie, is their quarterback. 118 completions on 182 attempts. That's 1,522 yards in 9 games, 23 touchdowns versus only 2 interceptions.
The guy we got to stop, Chris, is Cornelius White. Cornelius White is their go-to guy on offense. Now we have a flag here.
Before the first possession, and I don't know if the play clock ran out on Benna. He's arguing with the referee right now, but I think we're going to see Benna not win his battle, and it will be a 5-yard penalty on delay of game against Ryan Benna, so it'll be first and 15 for Columbus to start. New Orleans leads 7-0. We have played 2 minutes and 40 seconds of the opening quarter. Mike New did not win the coin toss. The Columbus team won the coin toss. They deferred, and Mike New took advantage of that. He was going to defer, he told me, if he won the coin toss again, and stick with that plan. He likes his defense out there first. Well, he got his offense on the board first, and he strike first. All right, now it will be Benna back to pass on first down left side. That's for Cedric Robinson. He's hit hard by Montgomery. That was the return man, and Montgomery tackled him like he did on the return. It's a gain of about 7 out to close to the 20, where it will be second down and 7 for Columbus here in this opening quarter with New Orleans up 7-0.
Threw a little hitch pass out to Robinson on the left-hand side for a 7-yard gain.
Other games today include Tampa Bay hosting Austin, Arizona's home to Dallas, Colorado visits New York, and Orlando is in Georgia. On second and 7, Benna, the quarterback, will watch Robinson go in motion from left to right. Now Robinson makes a block on Pointer. It's a good one, and the screen pass is complete. This one will go for a first down. Big hit. B.J. Cohen. Monty Montgomery got in there on the tackle, but it's a gain of 8. They needed 7, and Robinson will get the first down. He's had the ball all 3 plays thus far.
They've had a lot of success with screen passes the last 2 weeks. It's been a big part of their offense, and they're right there. That was well executed and got them a first down.
After that was Cornelius White. It was Robinson that made the block. Did you see Robinson come from left to right and then curled back in toward the middle? Block Pointer, who was covering man-to-man on White, which opened up White on that screen pass. That was a well-designed play. All right, across midfield, they'll mark it at the New Orleans 21, where Columbus is trying to tie this game up at 7-0 New Orleans. We've played almost 5 minutes of the opening quarter. Benna in the pocket, back to pass, a deep one. Has Robinson at a 5. Robinson looking to get in the end zone. No, he's tackled just before by Monty Montgomery, but not before Robinson gets down to the 2-yard line, maybe the 1. It'll be first and goal, Columbus, on the crossing route to Robinson.
Well, if I know anything about Earl Bruce, you can expect Wilmot Perry to carry the ball here off to the right side.
All right, Coach, let's see if this will hold true. Benna takes his call from his offensive coordinator. And it will be first and goal at about the 1.5 Columbus. Approaching the 5-minute mark of the opening quarter, New Orleans leads 7-0. Perry is the fullback. The wideouts line right. Perry will get it left side. He's going to be stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Look at the Voodoo players pile up. Lamont Moore led the charge, and Calvin Coleman, Monty Montgomery, Tim Martin, B.J. Cohen. There were only 2 players that weren't in on the tackle.
Well, I called the play, but that was a great defensive job by the Voodoo. They did a terrific job there. They controlled the line of scrimmage and tackled them for a loss.
It'll be a 1-yard loss. Second and goal, Columbus, from about the 2.5-yard line. Will you see Perry get the ball again on second and goal? Then it comes from the huddle to the center. Again, the fullback, Wilmot Perry, is behind him. Perry on the season has had 6 touchdowns rushing. He'll get it again right side. This time he'll scamper into the end zone, cuts back to the middle. Touchdown, Columbus. And it makes it a 7-6 game on the 7th rushing touchdown of the season by the fullback of Columbus. Good good blocking that time on the right side of the line.
That was a nice job by Columbus. It really was. They controlled the line of scrimmage, and Wilma Perry ran off to the right, off tackle to the right side, and got into the end zone.
Steve Vinicek is the place kicker for Columbus. He will attempt the extra point. Cedric Robinson is the holder as the Destroyers answer New Orleans' touchdown on their opening possession with a touchdown of their own. There's the kick. It is up and good, and we are tied at 7. That will stop the clock with 8:37 to go in the opening quarter. We will take a timeout with a timeout on the field. 7-7, New Orleans and Columbus from the graveyard. You're listening to it on 1350. Kenny Wilkerson, New Orleans and Columbus here at the arena. 7-7 is the score. The Destroyers will kick off from their own goal line. Back deep, Aaron Bailey and Chris Pointer. Vinicek will kick it off. It's a line drive. It's going to bounce at about the 5. Pointer's going to play it from his own end zone. 5, 10, Pointer breaks 15, out to the 20, Pointer to midfield before he's tackled on the play by Wilmot Perry. Nice return by the number 2 return man, Chris Pointer.
Great return and great field position for the Voodoo, Chris.
Right at midfield to the mark at the 25-yard line. Well, folks, we go interactive on the New Orleans Voodoo website. Every radio broadcast, you can log on to govoodoo.com, and if you have a question for myself, Saints tight ends coach Bob Palcic in the booth, or Kenny Wilkerson down the field, go to the homepage of govoodoo.com, click on the game day site, and you can log on to the internet. We'll read your questions over there if you have a comment about the game as well. We have an injury timeout on the floor. One of the Columbus players down. I don't know if that was Perry. He made the tackle on Chris Pointer.
That's JoJo Polk. JoJo Polk is the guy that's down on the field for Columbus. They're one of their defensive specialists.
Just underway, some out-of-town scores, and Arizona strikes.
Ankle, something like that. When they can loose walk up on their own, you might see him back in the game, but they had to kind of help him off.
All right, here's John Fitzgerald on offense. Draws the defense offside. He does it every single game at least once. It will make sure that the New Orleans line did not move as the flags fly before the first snap of New Orleans' second possession.
He does a terrific job with his cadence. He does it every game, and he just really has a knack for being able to draw that defensive line into the neutral zone.
Approaching the midway point of the opening quarter, 8 minutes and counting to go. 7-7 our score. New Orleans with the ball first, strikes on a 32-yard touchdown pass. Ira Gooch from John Fitzgerald. And New Orleans will get the 5-yard penalty marched off against Columbus. So it's 1st and 5, Voodoo from the Columbus 20-yard line. Quick count, back to pass Fitzgerald. Looking for the end zone again. Is that Gooch again? No, that's Bailey. Does he get in the end zone? No indication yet. No, they're going to say just short. Caught at the 1-yard line. Just inside the 1. Bailey was pushed out of bounds. It will not be a touchdown, but it'll be 1st and goal for the Voodoo. Boy, John Fitzgerald's not wasting any time on his drive. New Orleans did not score a touchdown the entire first half last week in Orlando. Fitzgerald looks like he means business today, and I thought Bailey was in, Coach.
That was awfully close, but they marked it on about the 1.5-yard line, and you know what I'm going to do on this play, don't you, Chris? I'm going to give the ball to Jason Bratton.
The big fullback backing up Dan Kern is in. Bratton right behind Fitzgerald. Let's see if it goes up the middle. Hand off to Bratton. He bounces off a couple. Can't get through, and he is pushed back for a loss of a yard on the play. Well, just like the New Orleans defense did on 1st and goal to Columbus last possession, Bratton gets stood up there, and he loses a yard, maybe 2, and it'll be 2nd and goal, Voodoo from, we'll call it the 2-yard line.
Tell you what, guys, they've got not a lot of height in their defensive line right now. A tremendous amount of size. I mean, there's some big wide bodies in there right now.
2nd and goal, Voodoo from the Columbus 2. Again, Bratton is the fullback, 3 wideouts right. Moore's in motion. Bailey's the inside man. Quarterback keeper on the draw by Fitzgerald. Touchdown, Voodoo. What a play call. That faked out the entire Columbus defense, and Fitzgerald basically walked into the end zone for the score.
They were all focusing on Jason Bratton. He faked to him and then took the ball himself around the left-hand side for a touchdown. Well executed. Real nice play calling by Mike Newt.
Looks like Fitzgerald may have taken a shot after he scored, and there was some pushing and shoving.
He did. They hit him. I don't know if the defender came over, didn't think that he was in or the play was even dead, but he had already scored, and they hit him from the back, and he just kind of came back at him and told him had a few words for him.
Brian Schmitz comes out for the extra point. Jermaine out for the backup quarterback is the holder. This one off the uprights, no good. And Schmitz misses the extra point, so the lead is 6. We'll take a break with a clock stop. 5:46 to go in the first quarter with a touchdown pass and a quarterback keeper for the 2 scores. Fitzgerald, well, he's a guy that struggled last week. He talked about turning around from the game in Orlando last week to this week.
We put it past us. We need to we need to come back and just take care of our own business, take care of ourselves. Can't worry about if the other team's going to do this, if they're going to do that, if they're going to show up to play, or if they're going to back down. If we take care of ourselves, we'll be just fine.
Quarterback John Fitzgerald on taking care of business here on the home turf of the New Orleans Arena, where the Voodoo are 4-0 in the season. They lead 13-7, and Brian Schmitz will do the kicking honors from his own goal line on the kickoff after missing the extra point, which Schmitz has done a good job this year. His first 2 games he struggled, really turned around since. This kick is end over end off the netting. It'll be taken by the Columbus return man. That is Robinson. Shake the tackle, but can't get past Bratton. I think he might have been face masked by Bratton, though. He's tackled at about the 4 or 5 yard line, but I think we're going to see an New Orleans penalty, Coach.
That was real good coverage by our kickoff team, but unfortunately we grabbed the face mask there, and we're going to get called for it.
So it will bring the ball. We'll wait and see. Yeah, personal foul, face mask. That is a 10-yard penalty in the AFL as opposed to a 15-yard penalty in the NFL. I'll bring it out to the 15-yard line where Columbus will start first and 10. New Orleans leading 13-7, 5-12 and counting to go in the first quarter. Penalties don't stop the clock. Out of bounds, incomplete, don't stop the clock in the AFL. Different than the NFL game. The only time the clock stops on all of those typical football plays is in the last minute after the 1-minute warning of each half. In motion is Jarrell Jackson, right side. Then a quick drop. Oh, he's smothered! Loses the ball! It's on the floor! Who's going to get it? It will be. No indication yet. Bennett got clobbered by Hamilton. Kenny, who's got the ball down there?
Columbus got it. They went right on top of it. It bounced around for a little bit. Voodoo had a chance at it, but he came down. Number 42 came right down on top of it.
Smothered him, did Aaron Hamilton, as Brian Bennett got absolutely clobbered by the New Orleans lineman. Nobody touched him coming in.
Well, that was a great rush by him, and Columbus is very, very lucky that wasn't a turnover, and that would have been great field position for the Voodoo, but let's play on. Here we go.
Thing to keep an eye on right now is we're winding down to the end of this quarter. This is the chance where the Voodoo players might have a chance to wear them down physically.
Second down and 14 after the 4-yard loss. He's in trouble again, Bennett. He's going to go down for the sack. Is that Hamilton again? Yes, it is. Back-to-back sacks for Aaron Hamilton, and he's feeling on the floor now.
Good speed there, guys. Not a lot of power on that move. He just ran right around. Looks like 95. Johnson, their right end, right tackle, guard, whatever you want to call him. He blocked in front of him, and nobody even really picked up Hamilton on the play. But still, a lot of speed, and nobody were able to account for him.
I think the line comes from planes, trains, and automobiles for Ryan Bennett. You're going the wrong way. 2-yard loss, 3rd and 16. Bennett back to pass, flags fly, incomplete up the middle, intended for Robinson. We will wait for the penalty as the Voodoo defense coming up big on this series. The referee's conferring. Was there a hold on the line, Coach?
I'm not sure, Chris. That's what I thought it was, but we'll have to wait and see what the official calls here. Illegal defense.
That is a killer because it's an automatic first down. It's only a 5-yard penalty, but it goes from 3rd and 16, incomplete to 4th and 16, to automatic first down back to the 14-yard line, originally where they started.
That's what we talked about earlier. They were eliminating penalties. There we had a face mask on the kickoff coverage. Now an illegal defense, which gives them the first down and slowing down our momentum a little bit. We're in control of the game. Okay, we got to get it back together.
Illegal defense. We'll get to that in a minute. It's kind of a hard explanation, but you can't line up if you're a linebacker in certain spots. So it's 1st and 10. Bennett on the screen pass off the hands of the tight end Tyron Johnson, incomplete, 2nd and 10. And the New Orleans defensive line is really putting the heat on the rookie quarterback Ryan Bennett. He has not had time in this series at all.
So Columbus came back with a screen pass there to try to take advantage of the dominating pass rush of the Voodoo so far.
Yeah, speed once again. Hamilton coming around on that outside. He just keeps doing it play after play, and that's what we were talking about before this series started. The quarter winding down. Now's your opportunity. If you are going to wear guys out, here's the chances that you have to take advantage of.
Hamilton 2 sacks, doubling his total. He leads the team with 4. Here's the quick pass by Bennett. This time complete by Monty Montgomery with a nice hit after a 5-yard gain on Cornelius White. He put him down to the turf on his back pocket. It'll be 3rd down for for Columbus.
Terrific job by Monty Montgomery coming out of coverage and making a real good hit for a short game.
3rd and 5 for Columbus from their own 20-yard line. 2 minutes to go and counting. First quarter of play. 13-7 the Voodoo leading. And now the defense trying to make a stand right here. The wideouts are all left. In motion forward will be White. He comes alive, follows snap, Bennett back to pass. He is pressured, gets rid of it, flags are down. The pass is incomplete. Having it for a second, his hands was Robinson, could not hang on. Denario Smalls and Ira Gooch in on the defense for the Voodoo. Let's see what the flag is. Let's hope New Orleans doesn't give a free first down again to Columbus for the second time this series after stopping them twice on 3 downs. And I think they did again. Illegal defense for the second time against New Orleans after a 3rd down stop, and it's being called on the linebacker, Jason Bratton. He has to line up inside the tight ends, and he's lining up outside to try to get a rush, and he can't even come outside of the tight ends ever if the quarterback stays in the pocket. You can't come around the outside. That's what Bratton has been doing, and that is the costly penalty again.
The Voodoo defensive line right now, Chris, is dominating the line of scrimmage, but it's getting negated because of penalties.
Well, and then
he was really kind of a non-factor on the play, too.
You're right.
He's just kind of hanging back there in a zone. And one thing it does tell you is that these referees are sharp on the rules. And you can't say that each and every week in this league. But these guys obviously know all these rules very, very well.
Yeah, you're right, Kenny. That's exactly right. They reset the 25-second clock. 1:17 to go here in the first quarter. New Orleans leads 13-7. At midfield, the ball. Really the only offense that they have had on this drive, Columbus, has been New Orleans penalties. The defense has been outstanding, but negating it are the penalties. All right, on 1st and 10 for Columbus. In motion is Jackson. Screen pass. This one might be picked off. Yes! Intercepted Falls. He's going to bring it all the way in. Touchdown!
There's a flag on the play.
Line of scrimmage. It's at the line of scrimmage, and Columbus seems to think it's against New Orleans. Monty Montgomery pointing the other way. He thinks it's going to hold for a defensive touchdown. Let's wait for the call. The referee's conferring. Both teams think it's against the other team. And they are talking this one over. You know, sometimes when they talk it over, they decide that it wasn't, and there wasn't a penalty in the AFL more times than
that's right.
you see in the NFL. This might be what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They will talk it over and decide.
Look at the referee pointing, Kenny. See where he's putting the ball? This one's going to go for a touchdown.
Yep.
Well, there you have it. Touchdown, Voodoo.
And we talk about turnovers. There's a turnover for a touchdown. Those are killers. Great
Denario
job.
Smalls will get the interception and the touchdown. It's about a 23-yard run, and he read that screen pass perfectly. That makes it 19-7 New Orleans with 55 seconds to go in the first quarter. The extra point by Brian Schmitz is up, and it is good. Well, that's stopping the team on their offensive possession. That's what Orlando did to New Orleans last week. And it's not always so much about scoring on offense. Of course, it's about that too. But if you can stop the team on their possession and score on yours, you're going to win football games in the AFL. That's really the key to winning football games in this league is scoring when you have your opportunities. And New Orleans not only negated Columbus's drive, they scored themselves on defense. You know, Tim Martin is back in the lineup for New Orleans for the first time in a couple of games, and he is one of the key pass rushers to this team. And we asked Tim Martin about the keys to getting pressure on the quarterback, and this is what Tim had to say.
The real key to getting pressure on the quarterback is we're going to need it from multiple sources. It's not going to be one guy getting to the quarterback. We're going to need it from 2 or 3 people on each play. Last week you saw that you get one guy to the quarterback and Joe Hamilton was able to slip away. We've got to get multiple people to the quarterback, collapse the pocket, make him feel the pressure, and force some throws.
Prophetic words by Tim Martin right there, Coach. That's exactly what they've done. They've got pressure from different angles, collapsing the pocket and making him make bad throws, i.e. the interception touchdown by Smalls.
The Voodoo are dominating this game right now, especially on the defensive side of the football. Their defensive front is getting good pressure. We have an interception and a turnover for a touchdown. The defense is playing outstanding.
So the extra point, 20-7 New Orleans. Schmitz will kick off from his own goal line with 55 seconds to go in the first quarter of play. You know, we've talked all season about New Orleans' defense in the first quarter Their first quarters this season have been by far their best. They've outscored opponents 90-43. The 43 allowed plus the 7 here is the best first quarter defense points allowed in the AFL, and it isn't even really close. And that has been such a key for Mike New's team in almost all of his wins. It's been getting off to good defensive starts. That's why he defers when he wins the coin toss. He wants his defense on the field to start the game, knowing that if they can get a lead, they get the ball to start the second half. Well, the Voodoo will kick off, and it'll be played off the net. Oh, a big hit right about the 10-yard line. Lamont Moore puts Robinson to the turf as he ran into a brick wall, Lamont Moore. It'll be 1st and 10, Columbus.
Guys, Voodoo right now, you can kind of sense it and watch these guys. Monty Montgomery usually gets them going. And after that interception return, the defense that's on the field right now, they definitely are a pumped-up squad. Aaron, they've got their win. They've had enough time to catch their win. It wasn't like they were on the field for a long time in the previous possession. And they seem to be a pumped-up squad.
All right, 1st and 10, Columbus from their own 10. This will be the last play of the first quarter. Venna, quick pass up the middle, caught by Robinson, and he gets taken down by Montgomery. Montgomery picks him up and threw him to the ground. About an 8-yard gain, though, but what a tackle by Montgomery. Kenny, if you can get a chance, Dan Kern has still had that nagging back problem. He wasn't out there in that last play. After Jason Bratton, the fullback, took a couple of penalties in the last drive, I thought Kern would come in. We'll see, try to get a chance to see if he is okay out there.
I noticed him, especially even in the goal line situation earlier, where they kept Bratton in the field, as to what's going on with him, but he has been playing, so I'm going to make my way over there and make sure that he's okay. I think that probably more than anything, Chris, is just that nagging back, and he likes to keep that thing and try to stretch it out as much as possible. But getting back to how they're playing right now, and you can just tell just even on that last tackle by Monty Montgomery, this is a point where we've seen in many games so far this year where they tend to start getting really, really nasty. It hasn't got them in any kind of trouble yet with a lot of crazy, unsportsmanlike calls or anything like that. But they definitely start intimidating teams along with the crowd. But when they start slinging them around and throwing them into the boards and all that kind of stuff.
Kenny, talking to Danny Kern this week, he told me his back was bothering him a little bit, but he didn't think it was going to be a big factor in this game, and he's a tough kid, and I'm sure he's going to play through that injury and get a lot of playing time today. At least I hope so.
Well, taking a look at some out-of-town scores. After the first quarter, Arizona leads Dallas 14-13. In the first quarter, Orlando up on Georgia 3-0. New York leading Colorado 7-0. No score yet from Austin, Tampa. We'll keep our eye on that one closely here as New Orleans will take on Austin next week. The Voodoo trying to remain one of the top 2 teams, well tied for the best record in the AFL. San Jose won on Friday night. They are 8-2. New Orleans 7-2 with a great first quarter. Coach, they outscore Columbus 20-7 in the opening 15 minutes. Just what the doctor ordered after a very rough outing last weekend in Orlando.
Well, as we talked earlier, they were determined. They had a good week of practice, and they were embarrassed about the way they played against back in Florida this last week, and they're out to prove something.
As we start the second quarter, it was a 9-yard gain by Robinson. He's caught a lot of footballs for this Columbus team in this first quarter, and it will be 2nd down and 1 for Columbus from their own 19-yard line. As we start the second half, Ryan Bennett, the quarterback, has been pressured pretty good. Cohen out there with Martin trying to get pressure on both sides. Bennett gets hit, passes it deep to the end zone. This pass is going to be caught for a touchdown by Gunnar Twiner, and a great pass by Bennett from about his own 12-yard line deep into the end zone, and Twiner makes the touchdown catch for Columbus as the quarterback was nailed on the play. But the combination is good, and that was a great pass.
And that was a terrific pass because he had pressure right in his face, and he hung in there, and he threw that ball and didn't flinch, and Twiner made a great catch against the back end zone wall there and came up with the ball. Now, Twiner is a guy who just joined them again this last week. He was the leading receiver last year, and he's just coming back, so they're getting a good 1-2 punch now with Robinson and Twiner back in the lineup.
You know, Venom paid for that one. Well, he comes off, he's okay, but he got nailed hard. Extra point by Vitek is up and good, and that makes it 20-14 with 14-19 to go on the first play of the second quarter. Columbus gets the touchdown.
That was the same situation that happened 2 weeks ago against Carolina when the ball hit the side of the upright and went through into the back net, and as you all remember, the officials said it wasn't good, but it went through, and Columbus gets the extra point.
GoVoodoo.com is the official website of the New Orleans Voodoo. You can log on, folks, to GoVoodoo.com. And if you have a question for us in the broadcast here today, we'll gladly read it over the air. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and what your question is or your comment about today's game. And we'll take a look at it here on the broadcast. So New Orleans will get the football. Looks like we're going to have a high-scoring game the way this one's going, back and forth. Both teams, well, every possession has resulted in a touchdown, but New Orleans up by 6 will get it because one of the touchdowns was a defensive touchdown by New Orleans' Denario Smalls. He did not dress the first 6 games, has come in since a couple of injuries, and making his presence felt with his first interception of the season and the touchdown for Smalls. And that was well-timed by Smalls to hit the man on the screen pass, take it out of his hand, and bring it all the way in for the 23-yard touchdown.
That extra point that we missed, that could be critical down the road. A lot of people don't pay attention to that. Matter of fact, I've bet a lot of fans, usually they get up and go to the refrigerator and get a sandwich or something as people are trying to kick the extra point.
Well, you can in the NFL because it's 18 feet wide, but here only 9. It's a couple.
Oh.
Look at this live ball. The floor comes off the netting. It's going to be a free-for-all here. Who's going to come up with it? I think the Voodoo will get the ball at the 8. That is a live ball when it hits that netting. And the net here is brand new. This is a first-year team, and it's very, very tight. And that took a huge carry off the netting from behind the end zone, out 8 yards through the end zone, and the end zones are 8 yards, all the way out to about the 8-yard line. That ball traveled 16 yards, and it was fortunately recovered by New Orleans. Coach, I didn't see you got that, but that was a very big play. New Orleans did not want to give that ball up right there.
That was critical. If Columbus would have recovered that fumble, they would have had the ball on the 9-yard line.
So the Voodoo will start 1st and 10 from their own 9. New Orleans leading 20-14. We have played 90 seconds of the second quarter. In motion is Gooch. He has a touchdown catch. Handoff though to Dan Curran left side. He's going to get a couple, maybe 3. Tackled by Cornelius White after Curran gets to the 11-yard line. It'll be 2nd down Voodoo.
Got to run that ball once in a while like Mike New just called there. Giving the ball to Dan Curran. Got to keep that defensive line of Columbus honest.
Coach New said he was going to get Curran more involved in the offense today compared to the last few weeks. Curran leads the AFL in rushing with 194 yards on 44 carries and 13 rushing touchdowns. 2nd down Voodoo. Lamont Moore is the wide out right in motion. He'll come to the line. Also Bailey and Gooch. Fitzgerald looking for more. Upfield toward midfield. Caught. And then he's pushed out of bounds inside Columbus territory after the gain of almost 20. It'll be 1st down Voodoo.
Nice protection by the offensive line, giving John Fitzgerald time to throw the ball for a completion.
Well, that'll bring it to the Columbus 21. New Orleans leading by 6, looking for more. Inside Destroyers territory. Columbus is one of the teams that is new. It's a new city, not a new team. They moved from Buffalo, and they have sold out 4 of their 5 home games to start. That's a football town up there, just like New Orleans is. Columbus, Ohio, one of the best in the country. Faking the handoff is Fitzgerald, throws it right on the swing pass to Lamont Moore. He'll get inside the 20 to about the, well, let's see where he stepped out of bounds. I think they're going to mark it at the 16. It'll be a 5-yard gain, 2nd down for New Orleans. And Coach New said, watch Lamont Moore. He's going to have a big day, too, so we'll keep our eye on him as well.
For the New Orleans Saints, we would have called that 96 pull screen. What we do, we throw a hitch screen out to the wide receiver, and you get an offensive lineman to block the defensive back out in front of him.
And 5 yards is a win every time.
Absolutely.
So 2nd and 5. Bailey's in motion. He's motoring toward the end zone. Fitzgerald looking for him. Bailey! Touchdown, Voodoo! Oh, yeah, here Bailey. Timed perfectly. John Fitzgerald looks as sharp as a tack here today. And it's 26-14 New Orleans with a touchdown pass for 16 yards.
And I love that Aaron Bailey. Man, is he a big play guy. He got up and caught that ball, and a real nice touch pass there by Fitzgerald, and well-executed play. Beautiful.
That is Bailey's first touchdown catch of the game on the season. That is his 21st touchdown catch with his 2 returns. He's got now 23 touchdowns on the season. Schmitz will put the extra point off the upright and missing again. So Brian Schmitz struggling. He is 2 for 4. And Coach, those could come back to haunt the Voodoo. That's not good for Brian Schmitz, who has kicked so well up until today after the first 2 weeks where he struggled.
Well, as we talked earlier, no matter what the position, he's got to put that out of his mind, go back to his techniques, do the things that he's coached to do, and forget about it.
will take a timeout with one on the floor as well. The Voodoo scoring in every possession thus far and taking one in on defense as well. With 11:06 to go in the second quarter, they lead the Columbus Destroyers 26-14.
Hey, Louisiana, it's oyster season, and it's Corey Johnson here to remind you that right now, Louisiana oysters are at their best. Big, plump, juicy, the best the world has to offer. Literally. Just ask any gourmet chef from just about anywhere, and he or she'll tell you the world's best oysters come from South Louisiana waters. And hey, besides great taste and flavor, there's even a better reason to enjoy Louisiana oysters. You'll love longer with Louisiana oysters.
Hey, Al.
Hello?
Thanks for meeting me at Wendy's. You're a real friend.
Right. Now where's my $20?
First, you gotta take these home-style chicken strips home for me.
Wendy's presents some food for thought.
Where are you going?
Home? The problem is, I'll eat them as soon as I get in the car. Those tender pieces of whole breast filet and delicious sauce. If you take them, then I'll get to eat them at home.
Right.
Wendy's new home-style chicken strips. It's better here.
Hey, Al, where are my strips?
Funny thing.
You ate them?
Sorry. No, I'm not really sorry.
This crowd rocking and rolling in the first half. The Voodoo lead 26-14 as we are just underway in the second quarter of play. 4 touchdowns for New Orleans. John Fitzgerald, 2 touchdown passes. That one to Aaron Bailey, also Ira Gooch, and Fitzgerald has run for 1. And defensive back Denario Smalls on an interception touchdown. Robinson takes it off the netting. Here he comes. Might break it. Robinson to the 15, out to the 20. Tackled on the play by B.J. Cohn, who got back there along with Tim Martin as well. Well, speaking of those big offensive linemen and defensive linemen, Bruce McClure is the starting center for the Voodoo, and he knew the crowd would be a factor today. This is what Bruce had to say about the New Orleans hometown.
So that last week against, a couple weeks ago when we played Carolina, the crowd was awesome. I know that it took effect on the Cobras, so as long as they come out and get as loud as they did last time, I don't know if anybody can stop us. They're huge.
Crowd is huge here when they get going, and the Voodoo get them going. All right, on defense, New Orleans, as they will try to stop. We're going to have a pitch back and then a throw by the wideout, broken up downfield by, was that Ira Gooch, I think, who got down there? What a play by Gooch on the halfback option.
Yeah, it was Gooch. Ira Gooch made a terrific play on that. That receiver was open, and Ira Gooch made up some ground, stuck his hand up, and deflected the ball for an incomplete pass.
Coach, what do you call that? It's a halfback option in the NFL, but there's no halfback in this game. That was the wideout throwing the ball. A wide receiver option? That was a pretty good-looking play, but
Good thing the throw was a little short, too.
yeah, he had a step on him. All right, 2nd and 10, pass left side, flag down, complete, caught by Robinson. He's going to muscle his way forward to the 20, to the 15, and pushed out of bounds. But right as the pass was thrown, we have a flag down right where the pass was thrown. We'll wait for the call. That will go as about a 15-yard gain pending the call. It'll bring it down to the New Orleans 15-yard line. So we wait for the referees to confer. And here's the call. Oh boy, big penalty against Columbus. Illegal motion on the offense, and it was against the receiver, Cedric Robinson. Maybe he moved across the line too early, Coach.
Usually, from my experience watching these games, they're pretty liberal about that call, but these guys are calling it a little closer to the vest today.
I'll say it again. I mean, these guys know the rules, and they are calling it tight. I think this is probably the tightest crew so far this year in this building. I don't know about on the road, but definitely in this building.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Kenny. All right, 2nd and 15 now for Columbus from their own 15 instead of being down the New Orleans 15. Vena scrambling, pressured. He's going to run forward. We'll get back to the original line of scrimmage. Gooch in on the tackle along with Bratton as well, and it will be about 10 yards short of the first down after the loss and the last penalty.
As I mentioned during the pregame show, Vena has some foot quickness, and he's one of those guys that the pocket collapses, he can make something happen on his own, and there he gained 6 yards by scrambling back to the line of scrimmage.
I'll tell you what, he's going to be lucky. He's going to feel pretty good about himself when he looks at that on the film that he went down when he did, because Monty Montgomery had a bead on him.
All right, will be 3rd and long. Call it 10 for Columbus. In motion, Robinson to the right side. Vena's looking for him. Vena throws towards Robinson's direction. Over his head, incomplete. Good coverage by Monty Montgomery. He was all over Robinson. And the pass is incomplete.
with him step for step. He really didn't have a chance. He's looking around trying to get the call, but that was just really, really good coverage. I don't think that's why he didn't argue too much about it. He knew that Montgomery was with him step for step.
Field goal attempt for Columbus. New Orleans leading 26-14, just about the midway point of the second quarter. The kicker is Steve Viditek, and he will kick it from his own 14-yard line. And for the kick, it is blocked by the Voodoo, and they're going to come up with it. Nice job by New Orleans. And it'll be Voodoo football as they block the kick. And for the Voodoo, they will get it at the 18-yard line. And it will be 1st and 10 New Orleans. Who got his hand on that, Coach?
I couldn't tell who that was, Chris.
And we'll try to get that in a second, but it will be John Fitzgerald back out there on offense for New Orleans with Aaron Bailey in motion. They hooked up here last time. Bailey toward the end zone. Fitzgerald scrambling, looking for him. He's just going to throw this one away. Bailey couldn't get open, and it'll be 2nd down and 10 for New Orleans.
Great protection by the Voodoo offensive line. John Fitzgerald had all kinds of time to throw the ball, but just couldn't find anybody open because Columbus did a terrific job in covering our receivers.
From the 18, 2nd and 10, New Orleans leading by 12. Boy, this would be a big boost to add to the lead right here for New Orleans, coming down to the final 6.5 minutes of the first half. Left will be Anthony Collins, the wideout. Ira Gooch right, and Bailey will move in motion with Bratton, the fullback. Bailey to the line. Fitzgerald back to pass. Quick slant left. That is incomplete, off the hands of Anthony Collins, and it will be 3rd and 10 New Orleans. Now the Voodoo very good on 3rd downs this season. As a matter of fact, Fitzgerald has been good all season, 25 of 45. That's 3rd best in the league on 3rd down situations.
And another thing that's interesting about this game, you can't punt, so you have to go for a field goal. It's blocked. The other team has good field position.
And it's time to capitalize. 2nd turnover, if you will, of the game on the interception. Oh, somebody moved early. It looked like the defensive line. And Fitzgerald's going to make the pass upfield. Anthony Collins was held. Flags all over the place.
Yeah, that's going to be that Fitzgerald with that head bob. I think they're going to call it on the defense, but he definitely drew him with his head.
And we're going to get a pass interference call against the defense as well, which would result in an automatic 1st down. So they'll decline, if that's the way it goes, the line penalty against the Columbus defense and take the pass interference. See if that's the way to go. Or I could be completely wrong, Bob.
And I saw Ira Gooch Lynch out there in the perimeter, but he may have just been reacting to the defensive line movement.
Yeah, 2 fouls in the defense. Offside and pass interference. Pass interference is an automatic 1st down and a 10-yard penalty. So the New Orleans defense hurt themselves on a couple penalties on Columbus's first possession. Now the Destroyers take a penalty where it would have been a 4th down situation, and that'll make it 1st and goal Voodoo from the 9-yard line. Under 6 minutes to go. New Orleans trying to add to their 26-14 lead. All right, Fitzgerald will set with Bailey in motion. Fitzgerald, quick drop back, throws to Gooch, caught at the 5, trying to shake off his man, gets tackled, but just short of the goal line is Gooch. They'll mark it at the 1-yard line. Nice move by Gooch, but Terrell Jackson stay with him to prevent the 6 points.
No, that was excellent by Ira Gooch there. He put a little spin move on the defender and tried to stretch to get to the goal line and got it down to the 1-yard line.
2nd and goal for the Voodoo. They lead 26-14, now 5:15 to go in the first half.
And God, I think if this thing might be a little tighter right now, maybe this would be a situation for Curran, because he is okay. I went over and checked on him and said he's fine, but they're leaving Bratton in there.
All right, well, Fitzgerald, the quarterback keeper, almost looked like he bobbled it, pushes his way forward. Does he get in the end zone? No call yet. Looked like it. They're going to say just short. It will be 3rd and goal from inside the 1. Well, the pile moved forward, and Fitzgerald's momentum looked as though it put him across the line, but they're not going to say it's a touchdown. Just inside the 1-yard line, 3rd and goal. Coach?
He bobbled the center quarterback exchange. Never got control of the ball, and it was a busted play. But nice job by him getting north and south and actually gaining a little bit of yards on that.
All right, well,
and not having the ball stripped back out of his hand.
Right. All right, here, let's see what Fitzgerald comes up with this time. Bailey's right. Collins is left and Gooch in motion. Bratton is the fullback. It's going to be a pitch to Bratton. He's got some daily. Spins off his man. Touchdown, Voodoo. Jason Bratton with the touchdown on 3rd and goal, and that will make it 32-14 New Orleans as the Voodoo offense clicking on all cylinders this week.
Ran a little flip toss play to Jason Bratton and did a nice job, put a little spin move on, fell and got into the end zone for a touchdown. Well executed.
Brian goes down for the extra point again. And will try to make it good this time. He's reached the 4 today. It's going to be a fake and a quarterback keeper by Jermaine Alford into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. Nice play by Jermaine Alford. The Voodoo get a couple back on the missed extra points. We will take a break with 3:43 to go in the first half. New Orleans leads by 20 and the Voodoo 34 and Columbus 14.
Hi, I'm Steve Lee, Mission Ambulance. Did you know that the state of Louisiana Department of Natural Resources has a program to help you pay for a new high-efficiency air conditioning and heating system? You can receive up to $2,000 back from
Chris Kenyon along with Bob Palcic and Kenny Wilkerson. New Orleans with a great first half here, leading 34-14. I'm going to have to go into the stats here. Kenny, I think this might be the most points in the first half this season for New Orleans, and we still have 3.5 to go.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but I do know this, and remember a few weeks back on that Friday night game, they played an excellent first half and scored on every possession, and it was the best half of the year. This one equals that right now.
Schmitz will kick off the netting. It'll be played by Robinson of Columbus from his own end zone. Robinson 5, out to the left side, 10, 15, with some daylight, breaks the tackle midfield. The kicker Schmitz is back, and he's going to tackle him, preventing Robinson from taking it the distance at about the 17-yard line inside Voodoo territory. Brian Schmitz, the kicker, comes up limping, Kenny. That could be an important play right there. Schmitz is shaken up on the play, the kicker making the tackle. Well, we'll see. He does walk off gingerly, though. And it will be Columbus ball as they try to get back into this game, down by 20 with 3 minutes to go in the first half. Brian Venna, the quarterback, is set at the 17. In motion is Jackson. Handoff to the fullback up the middle, and it's going to be a gain of about 5. And it will be second down. Well, there is no 42 on the roster for Columbus, so your guess is as good as mine, Coach, as to who that was.
Wood.
Well, all right, Wood.
That's what the back of his jersey says. Wood.
Wood carries 5. Who am I to argue with the back of the jersey?
As far as Schmitz goes down here, they're taking a look. He's just kind of trying to walk it off right now.
All right, 2nd and 5, Columbus at the New Orleans 12. Crowd trying to get the wave going here. Back to pass Venna. Plenty of time. No pressure. Now he's scrambling. Here comes the pressure. Eludes him to the 10 to the 5. Breaks it free and into the end zone. Touchdown Venna. A 12-yard run for the touchdown for the Columbus quarterback. Oh, what a scramble that was, Coach. He was all over the place.
There was tremendous protection. He had a lot of time to throw the ball, and finally the pocket just broke down. No one was open, and he took it up the middle and showed some good open field running. And scored the touchdown.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Also, he took a big wicket shot from Smalls, and he just overpowered him. I mean,
right at the
cut it off, right there at the goal line, but he just overpowered him and got in.
Well, Venna, 6'2", 215, and he got through Smalls, who is one of the smaller players, no pun intended, on the Voodoo team. The kicker's no good, so both kickers missing the extra points, as Steve Vinicek misses it way wide right. That wasn't even close. And it holds. Now it's a 14-point game, so with a couple of extra points missed by New Orleans and then a 2-point conversion good, that missed extra point, we're right on path here. It's 14 points, the difference. New Orleans leads 34-20, and I guess the only good news is on that touchdown is the Voodoo get the ball back with 89 seconds to go, Coach, and that's plenty of time in the AFL to get another score and take to the locker room, hopefully up 41-20, and get the ball back to start the second half.
This is high-scoring football at its best, and as you said, Chris, A minute 29, that's a long time in this league.
The way that they've been, you could tell that their game plan coming into this game was strike quick. I mean, everything they've done all day has been really, really fast and really, really attacking and going after the big play early on either on first or second down. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if they just kind of stick to that and try to get it down there and grab another score before they get into the locker room.
Well, it's been an exciting first half. We've seen a little bit of everything. We've seen some great catches by both teams. We've seen some good, solid running on the inside.
And the kicker, Vinetek, will kick off for Columbus. One thing about this game, too, with the field being so short, an onside kick is not as much of a gamble in the AFL as it is in the NFL, because either way, you're basically, in NFL terms, starting on the opponent's side of midfield no matter what, since the field's only 50 yards. So you see it more surprising onside kicks in the AFL than you do in the NFL. And here we have it, just what I thought. It's going to be up for grabs. Ball's loose on the ground. Anthony Collins down after it. Did Collins get it?
They got it. Voodoo have it.
And a flag comes down after the play.
One thing about
that. Feeling about that one.
You did, Chris, but I'll tell you one thing about onside kicks. Their only positive results only occur 1 out of 7 times. And that's a pretty low percentage, and there's a lot of time left in this game, and I really think that was too early to try that.
I think it was more of a surprise, and it was a good kick. It was a very good kick. It went over the initial Voodoo line and really came up for grabs, and Collins got to it. And Collins made a smart play there, too. If you push the ball out of bounds as a receiving team, it goes over to the receiving team, and Collins, after it hit the ground, got it out of bounds. So it'll be a Voodoo football. 1st and 10 New Orleans at the 19-yard line of the Columbus Destroyers with 1 minute to go in a couple of seconds, and it'll come down to the 1-minute warning where John Fitzgerald will let it run down for an even 60 seconds to remain in the first half. So the Voodoo up by 14 will have the ball at the Columbus 19 with 1 minute to go in the first half when we return. We'll take a break with a timeout on the floor. 34-20 New Orleans leads it. Back with the Voodoo possession right after this break.
Nissan makes it. Re-rate Nissan.
Chris Kenyon, Bob Palcic, and Kenny Wilkerson. Final minute of play here in the first half. New Orleans leads 34-20. And on the first play, we had again John Fitzgerald draw the Columbus defense offside, so make it 1st and 5 New Orleans. 5 yards closer to pay dirt at the 14-yard line.
They got great field position here. They got to capitalize on it.
Wide right is Lamont Moore. He's in motion. But it's going to be a draw play to Dan Curran. Curran breaks a tackle to the 10. He's tackled by the shoestrings at about the 8-yard line. He's going to get 6 yards, enough for the first down. And it will be 1st and goal Voodoo at about the 8 or 9-yard line. Good draw play by Dan Curran. Good call by Coach New. He said he was going to use Curran more on offense, and he has in his first half, and it's worked.
Well executed, and I really like Dan Curran. He has good quickness. He's a tough kid, and he had good explosion through the line of scrimmage there for a first down.
Clock ticking, 35 and counting to go. New Orleans has all 3 timeouts left, so they'll have plenty of time here in the final minute to try to add to their 14-point lead. Denario Smalls out on offense. He's in motion. Screen pass, Bailey left side. Oh, he's hit hard. Taken into the air by LeVar Glover, the defensive specialist, and then smothered by the big lineman. But he gets down to about the 6, so give him 3 yards. 2nd and goal. And I think the Voodoo are going to take their first timeout. Columbus is going to take the timeout. That surprises me a little bit.
That does surprise me. And I think they're going to pay dearly here for that onside kick. That is, as I said earlier, I don't think that's something they should have tried at that point in the ball game.
24 seconds to go. The clock is stopped with a Columbus timeout. John Fitzgerald will get the call from Mike New, his head coach and offensive coordinator. Earl Bruce, the Ohio State legend, is not a coordinator. Most of the head coaches are out there for offense or defense or both. He's not out there for either one. I'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second, Coach Palcic. But on 2nd and goal from the 6, Fitzgerald takes the snap. Back to pass. Good pressure, or a good coverage, rather, and it's incomplete by the Columbus defense as Bailey was covered by a couple of players. Good job on the coverage there. Now we've got some extracurriculars after the whistle.
B.J. Cohen and Bazile getting into it.
Almost intercepted by number 11, Del Lee.
It'll be 3rd and goal, New Orleans. 19 seconds to go. The clock has stopped here in the first half. Voodoo leading 34-20. And it will be from the 6. Fitzgerald gets his call from Mike New again. brings it into the huddle. What do you expect from here, Coach? 2 plays, really, for the touchdown. I don't think they're going to try a field goal. I could be wrong. But at the 6, I think Mike New wants 6. Bailey's in motion, all wide out to right. Fitzgerald looking to the end zone. For Bailey, double covered again. Pass is incomplete, broken up again by the same defender back there, Del Lee. 4th down, Voodoo. And the question 1 is, a field goal attempt going to come out? And 2 is, Brian Schmidt's okay to kick a field goal right now. He's missed 2 or 3 extra points and has looked shaky and also got hurt on the last kickoff.
He looks fine running out of the field. I don't think it was anything serious, and I think he's going to be okay there.
And also for his psyche, I think he needs to make this kick to get his confidence back. He's had a tough day in this first half.
Well, Columbus obviously knew who our go-to guy is there, Aaron Bailey, and he was well covered on both of those pass attempts.
Columbus will get the football back. 14 seconds remain in the first half. New Orleans up 34-20. Schmitz will kick. The spot of it will be the 13, so it'll be a 21-yard field goal attempt, 8 yards in the end zone. The hold is there by Alfred. The kick is up, and it is good right through the middle of the 9-foot wide uprights.
Yeah. As you said, Chris, that was good for Schmitz. He needed that, and that's going to bode well for him in the second half.
Right, and the thing about it, too, is that they were lined up, and he got to kick it off the left hash. When you can get it off that left hash like that, it's more of a straight-on shot, whereas when it's on the right hash, Morton Anderson used to teach this, by the way.
Okay.
It makes you have a tendency to have a natural hook in it.
So the clock will stop after the kick. It took 3 seconds, so there are 11 ticks remaining in the first half. So Columbus will get a chance to get the ball back here and try to answer after the last waning seconds of this first half. Schmitz's kick makes it 37-20 New Orleans. Remember, guys, the Voodoo will get the ball to start the second half, so they're going to have a lead, a good lead, and they will get the ball to start the second half, exactly what Mike New wanted to do.
Well, if this keeps up, we may score 74 today.
Actually, let me check that. Kenny, did we start with the ball?
I was just kind of thinking about it for a second.
I think we did.
They got the ball first.
We did.
And went downtown and goose at the touchdown.
You're right.
Off the bat. So they'll get the ball first. But don't be surprised here for them to at least get the ball, at least take a crack at the end zone.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And also Robinson has done a good job on the returns today. He brought the last one back to the New Orleans 17-yard line. Let's see if Schmitz decides maybe to line drive this one, kind of get it down there on the ground instead of having Robinson get it off the netting.
That must be brutal being a defensive coordinator in this league. 37 points in the first half. My God, that'd be suicidal.
Yeah, you're right. That would be an unbelievable explosion of one half of football in the NFL. All right, Schmitz is set to kick from his goal line with 11 seconds left in the half. He's going to line drive it, but it's a high one, and it will go off the netting. Takes a bounce. Live ball, folks. Robinson's got it at the 2. Avoids a tackle. Avoids another. Now he's brought down at about the 8 or 9 yard line. Good persistence there by Denario Smalls. Also Tim Martin in the tackle as well for New Orleans. Those balls, once they come off the netting and hit the ground, it is a wild run for that football.
And as you mentioned earlier, Chris, both teams are having difficulty fielding the ball off those nets.
Yeah, 57 points in this first half. Dallas is playing Arizona. They've scored 55 points in the first half. 28-27 Arizona leading. They're still in the second quarter. We'll get to the out-of-town scores at halftime. All right, 6 seconds to go. In motion is Darrell Jackson. He might go deep. Now it's going to be a swing pass to the right side, and then tackled is Robinson after he gains just a few, and it'll stop the clock with a timeout by Columbus with 2 seconds left after about a 4 or 5 yard gain. What's the reasoning for that one, Coach?
Everyone thought that ball was down there at that time, but the official called it down, and like you said, there's 2 seconds left to go here, and
throw it deep.
I think they're going to try to throw it deep. They have no other choice but to do that from here.
I don't think they're going to try a field goal. We've seen teams try it, but this is talking about a 50-yarder between 9-foot wide uprights. I don't see that happening. Well, Venno looks as though he's going to launch this one up, or at least one final play, pending a defensive penalty here in the first half. We'll have a statistical recap of the first half during our halftime show. Take a look at the out-of-town scores. Kenny Wilkerson will try to chat with Mike New as well, the head coach of the Voodoo at halftime.
Now, we have an injury there. Kenny, can you see who they're taking off the field over there?
I think it's Smalls. Yeah, Smalls. He has a defensive touchdown today on the 23-yard interception return for a touchdown. but got hurt on that play and will go out for the last play of the first half. All right, from his own 12-yard line, Ryan Venna will throw this one up for grabs.
Voodoo's lined up in a prevent defense. They let him catch the short pass.
Yeah,
got to make the tackle here. Make the tackle. Oh, my gosh.
Break this one. Cornelius White's going to bring it down to the 5, and then Monty Montgomery comes in and says, hello, halftime is over.
Pointer's down in a lot of pain, and I tell you what, Monty Montgomery almost took his head off.
Well, there was a holding anyway in the offense, but the play will go for none, and that will end the wild end of the first half on the last play as Cornelius White almost broke it. But Monty Montgomery says, not in our house, and it will end the first half of play. We'll take a timeout through 30 minutes here at the New Orleans Arena. Your Voodoo lead the Columbus Destroyers as the Voodoo try to keep pace with San Jose for the best record in the AFL. It's 37-20, New Orleans at the half. Back with a halftime show after this timeout. You're listening to Voodoo Football on 1350 AM WSMB.
If Nissan makes it, Ray Brandt Nissan discounts it. Tomorrow at Ray Brandt Nissan on the West Bank during Markdown Monday. Hustle the Harvey to Ray Brandt Nissan and get the new 04 Frontier Team Cab truck. Loaded at $11,595. How low will Ray Brandt go on the new 04 Frontier Crew Cab truck? He could go all the way. $14,995. Monday at Ray Brandt Nissan, number 1 in Louisiana, 8th in the USA. 1884 West Bank Expressway. On the Brandt Block, exit Manhattan. Suck Miles Rubicon sales apply for TTO.
This is the tahini voice of Tom Fitzmaurice. I had lunch in the new Lebanon's Cafe. It's just next door to the old place, but it is new. And I ate eggplant 3 ways. I could have added 6 or 7 more ways, and yet you could eat there 3 dozen times, getting something different every time, and never eat eggplant at all. Now, why am I telling you all this? Make the point that Lebanon's Cafe has as big and various a menu as you'll find, with
Curran 2 rushes, 7 yards, including a 5-yard carry. Also a touchdown rush by Jason Bratton for the Columbus Destroyers. They're not a very good rushing team, but their quarterback Ryan Bennett can scramble. That can give you some rushing yards in this league. Bennett picked up 18 yards on 2 carries, including that 12-yard touchdown run. Ricky Wood had 1 carry for 5 yards. I think the Voodoo have to worry about Bennett. He can run the ball, and if he does, he can hurt you.
As Coach New said, they've been putting good pressure on Ben all day long. He happened to slip through the last scrimmage there and ran 12 yards for a touchdown. They just have to finish it off, wrap him up, and put him away and get themselves a couple of sacks.
Cedric Robinson for Columbus led them with 4 catches in the first half for 41 yards. Cornelius White 3 for 45, as he is a very dangerous offensive weapon as well. All right, Voodoo kick it off, and it will be a touchback as Robinson, the returner, had trouble handling it. It goes off his hands and then over the end line out of bounds. So the touchback starts the ball at the 5-yard line for Columbus. 1st and 10, Destroyers from their own 5 as we begin the second half. Ryan Bennett comes out, the quarterback, with his first play for his team. Again, I think keep your eye on Cornelius White here in the second half.
We need the Voodoo defense to step up here and put this thing away.
New Orleans leading by 17 to begin the second half on 1st and 10 from their own 5. In motion is going to be Robinson right side. Quick pass to Robinson, caught, and then Monty Montgomery puts his arms around him, wraps him up, and hits him out of bounds at the 17. First down, that's a 12-yard gain, but one thing about Monty Montgomery, Coach, he does not miss tackling.
Yeah, he's a sure tackler, but that was also a very good one-handed catch by Robinson for Columbus to give him the first down.
Quick drop by the quarterback Venna as well, and it will be 1st and 10 after the 12-yard gain at their own 17. Columbus on their first possession of the second half. The fullback behind Venna is Wilmot Perry. In motion again, White. Left side this time. Going right, though, is the quarterback, Venna, almost intercepted. Lamont Moore got his hands on it. And now a late flag well after the whistle. Did the receiver say something to the referee? Twiner was the intended receiver, and the flag came after. It looked as though Twiner may have said something. Oh, they were going to call an illegal defense, but because of the pump fake by the quarterback, that negates an illegal defense penalty. Again, some nuances of the rules of the AFL. So no penalty called. It will be 2nd down and 10 for Columbus again from their own, call it 18-yard line.
Well, these officials are all over that illegal defensive field today.
They really are. You know, officials meet as a whole, as a league, and maybe that's part of what they've talked about the last couple weeks to really watch the illegal defense from teams. And New Orleans had a call against them twice, Columbus once. All right, 2nd and 10 in motion left side is Twiner. Scrambling is Bennett. He's going to run with it again to the 20. He's going to get 3 or 4. Look, nailed into the wall by Lamont Moore. He whips him into the wall. Bennett gets back up. That's got to hurt on a cold day, let alone in here. Boy, that was a tackle by Moore.
That's the other,
these balls don't give, Coach.
That's the other side of the quarterback scramble. You scramble too many times, you're going to pay the price for it.
Oh, man. Good thing the walls are padded, that's for sure. 3rd and 6, he got 4.
I was surprised he got up so quickly, I really was.
I think he's still answering the phone, quite frankly. His bell is ringing. All right, in motion is White. And flags fly as the ball is snapped. And we will have motion on the line. I think the offense may have moved. Let's wait for the call. Nothing yet from the referees. We're just underway in the second half. We've played just over 2 minutes. New Orleans leading 37-20. First possession of the second half goes to Columbus here. The Destroyers think it's against New Orleans. Encroachment against the defense, Coach?
Encroachment against the defense, number 98.
Sean Powell whistled on the play. He's the nose tackle, and he has had problems with that in certain games, and that's a cardinal sin for those nose tackles over that football on defense to move early.
That will drive a defensive line coach crazy. They're right over the ball. They got to concentrate on ball movement only.
All right, on the 5-yard penalty, 3rd and short now, 3rd and 1 instead of 3rd and 6. Will the fullback Perry get it this time? In motion Robinson, quarterback keeper again. Venna, left side, gets 5, pushed into the wall again, but he'll get a 5-yard gain and his first down. Venna keeping the ball a little more, and the quarterback drawing. It's working.
Now that was pretty much the same play that John Fitzgerald scored on in the first half there. It was a fake to the fullback into the line of scrimmage, and then he took it around the left side for a 5-yard gain and a first down for Columbus.
Inside New Orleans territory at the Voodoo 18-yard line with just over 3 minutes gone, 3rd quarter. Voodoo by of the second half. And Bennett is set in motion. Will be Twiner to the right side. All 3 wideouts right. Twiner going to the end zone. Bennett looking for him. He's pressure, throws it up and out of play. Incomplete. 1, 2, 3 Voodoo rushers. Cohen, Martin, and Curran all with the heat on the quarterback.
Great pressure, and Venna was slow to get up off the turf on that one. He's walking to the sideline limping here a little bit.
He will come over to his coach, but you do after every play anyway because the coaches, the coordinators are on the field. And the play will be 2nd and 10 from the 18.
We almost threw that one up for grabs, trying to save the sack.
All right, let's see what Bennett comes up with. Wide right is going to be White. On the left side, Twiner in motion is Robinson. Pass is going to go to White. He's open, makes the catch at the 10. Might bust this one into the end zone. Touchdown, Columbus. Boy, White took a big hit as he crossed the line by Calvin Coleman, but he hangs onto the football and finds pay dirt. It's an 18-yard catch for Columbus on the touchdown, and it cuts the lead down to 37-26 with the extra point coming.
And their receiver is down there in the end zone. The young man that just scored the touchdown. And
White got crushed from behind by Calvin Coleman. And he did a good job of hanging onto the football. That crossing route, Coach, was a nice pattern. And White gets in the end zone, 4-6.
It was a good effort by White to get into the end zone. He dragged a couple defenders in there, but he may have rolled his ankle in doing so.
Out for the extra point, Steve Venetek. And it will look as though White is going to be helped off, Coach. That's a big lie. I said at halftime, I think he's going to get more involved in the offense. He's been a big key for this team all season long. He didn't have a lot of catches and a lot of action in the first half, but now he's a second Columbus player to be helped off the field today. And this is a rough sport.
Well,
it's going to be a big loss for them.
They lost their leading tackler in JoJo Polk, and now they're losing their best receiver here, one of their best receivers in Cornelius White.
He will be helped off by the training staff of the Destroyers. Clock is stopped with 10:36 to go in the third quarter. Again, folks, if you'd like to log on to the Voodoo website, ask us a question, we'll take them over the air. GoVoodoo.com, the official website of your New Orleans Voodoo, for questions about today's game for myself. Saints tight end coach Bob Palcic in the booth, or Kenny Wilkerson down on the field. We'll be answering those and also take your calls in the postgame show as well. All right, out is Vitatech for the extra point. Cedric Robinson is the holder. High snap, he puts it down Robinson. Vitatech's kick is up and good, and the lead is now 10 for New Orleans. Voodoo will get the football for the first time in the second half when we come back. With 10:21 to go in the third quarter, it's the Voodoo leading Columbus 37-27, and you're listening good live here at 1350 AM. Back at the graveyard, Chris Kenyon, your host, along with Saints tight end coach Bob Palcic. The New Orleans Voodoo have a 10-point lead. They will get the ball as Columbus finds the end zone on their first possession of the second half. Well, for Earl Bruce, the head coach of Columbus, the former Ohio State coach, Coach Palcic, that's what they had to do. They had to score in their first possession to get back in this game. Now their defense has to make a stop. They haven't been able to do so thus far today.
They responded well coming out after the halftime, and it's going to be important here now for the Voodoo to get some offensive momentum.
This one will go through the uprights and out of play. Touchback, New Orleans will start at their own 5. So John Fitzgerald will come out for New Orleans and lead his team. We heard from Mike New at halftime, and Denario Smalls, it's his right knee that is injured, and Coach New said that he will be doubtful for the second half. But give Denario credit, Coach. He didn't play the first 5-6 games with his team. Got his chance with some injuries to get in there and made good today with an interception touchdown. Now on offense, the Voodoo thinking touchdown. Fitzgerald from his own end zone going deep for Bailey out the midfield. Bailey makes the catch, eludes the tackler to the 20. Now he'll be brought down inside Columbus territory at about the 17-yard line, as that will go for a 27-yard gain on the catch by Bailey.
Fitzgerald got out of the pocket that time, set his feet, threw the ball across field, and Aaron Bailey made a beautiful catch for a good game.
That'll get this crowd back on their feet in a hurry. Under 10 minutes to go, third quarter. Voodoo by 10, looking for more. They'll mark it at the Columbus 17. Wide right, Lamont Moore. Look for him to get involved in this one. Gooch right, and Bailey in motion as the inside slot. It'll be a screen to the tight end. That's B.J. Cohen inside the 15. Pushed down at about the 12. He may get 5. First tight end call by Mike New today.
That was a nice one-handed catch by B.J. Cohen. That was impressive. He showed his athletic ability there.
Yeah, B.J. a lineman by nature, by trade, but in the AFL, an offensive lineman is also a tight end. And eligible is one of the two ends on offense. Cohen reports eligible, 6'2", 280. Last year on the All-Ironman team in the AFL with the champion Tampa Bay Storm, making his presence felt this season again today with New Orleans. Screen pass, Lamont Moore left side. Tried to shake off his man, tackled immediately. Good tackle by LeVar Glover, the defensive specialist. Moore got maybe 2 or 3. Just inside the 10, they're going to mark it inside Columbus territory. Voodoo trying to add to their 10-point lead. It's going to be third and call it 2. They need to get to the 7. They're at the 9. What's the play call here, Coach?
Well, you know, with B.J. Cohen and Tim Martin, an advantage that New Orleans has is their athletic ability over a lot of the other teams in the league that have bigger guys who aren't a threat in the passing game at all. So I really like the way this team has been put together by Mike New.
Lamont Moore is very slow to get up and off the field, and he's going to actually have to be helped off the field. The wide receiver who made the catch looked as though he turned his ankle, and Anthony Collins will come in to replace Moore. Moore getting better each and every game for Mike New's Voodoo. He's got a lot of receivers hurt this season. Luke Leverson has been out most of the season, in and out of the lineup, who was their number 2 guy coming into the season. Calvin Spears is also on the injury reserve list after being hurt a few weeks ago. But guys have stepped up, like Ira Gooch, most notably. Lamont Moore, who now is hurt. Anthony Collins comes on as his replacement. Let's see what happens here. The wideouts are right. It's Collins and Gooch, and now in motion right is Bailey. On the snap, screen pass up the middle to Gooch. Oh, he gets nailed. Had his head down and did not see the big lineman there. That was LaKenra Jones, and Gooch was decked, but he hung on to the football and he's going to be very close to the first down. This one will be maybe about a half yard short. It's going to be fourth down, decision time for Mike New. He's going to go for it, Coach.
He's going to go for it. I would think I'd probably take the points here myself, but that's why he's the head coach, and I'm an assistant.
Crowd on their feet are starting to get so. 7 minutes to go in the third. Voodoo by 10. They have it 4th and 1 from the Columbus 7, or the 8. Check that. It's going to be a handoff to Curran. Did he get the first down? Oh, that's going to be close.
It is going to be close as right.
Let's see where the mark is. Columbus thinks they stopped them, and based on the mark, I tend to agree. And they have. So the defense comes up huge for Columbus. And New Orleans unable to put points on the board in that possession. You like the field goal, Coach. And hindsight is 20/20, but maybe the field goal is the call. Let's see if the New Orleans defense now can make a stop, because Columbus scoring on their first possession and get within 10 after trailing 37-20 at the half. Now, with the ball, can cut the lead to 3. They will start from their own 8-yard line. Brian Benna has looked impressive in this second half, scrambling. He throws a quick one, intercepted by Monty Montgomery, right all the way. Montgomery to the 15 to the 10, where he's brought down. The Voodoo will get the ball right back. And Chris Pointer having some words with the intended receiver, who was Gunnar Twiner. Monty Montgomery read that play perfectly, Coach, and he was all over it.
Monty Montgomery made a great play on that football, and that's the second turnover of the game for Columbus, and the second interception for the secondary of the New Orleans Voodoo. And as we say, the turnover ratio is extremely important in every football game.
A lot of extracurriculars after the play. We have whistles and flags. Let's see what the calls are going to be. They're going to mark it at the 9, right where it just was.
I don't know what the taunting rules are.
Well, and that basically is a delay of game against Monty Montgomery for spiking the ball into the stands. Is that what he said?
Spiking the ball in the stands. So that's a penalty that I wouldn't have been aware of.
That's a first. That's a first.
I thought it might have been a taunting penalty, but spiking the ball into the stands for a delay of game.
Well, we go to the website at govoodoo.com for our first question of the day. Kim and Paul, we're going to get to your question in a second. Tuning in on the radio, we thank you for listening. All right, it's a penalty after the play, so it's 1st and 10 from the 14 instead of the 9 inside Columbus territory for the Voodoo. Let's see if Fitzgerald wants to strike to the end zone quick. Bailey's in motion. It's going toward Bailey. Wide open in the end zone. Makes the catch.
No.
Oh, they're going to say he was out of bounds. And Bailey doesn't like the call. It will be incomplete. I've got to see the replay of that one, Coach. I thought he had his feet in.
Apparently, now you have to straighten me out on this, Chris. He was leaning over the sideline wall. Now, does that constitute out of bounds at that point?
In the end zone,
Okay.
it does.
Okay.
So that is the right call.
That was the call then.
Only in the end zone. Between the goal lines, you can use that wall for your advantage. But that was actually a pretty good call. 2nd and 10 for the Voodoo, trying to add to their 10-point lead with 5:25 to go in the third quarter from the 14 inside Columbus territory. Pass up the middle, wide open, the tight end, Aaron Hamilton with the touchdown! What a play call and great execution. Mike New making the call, John Fitzgerald with a pass, Aaron Hamilton makes the catch, his second touchdown of the season, 43-27 New Orleans.
As I mentioned a couple minutes ago, the advantage that New Orleans has is the athleticism of that tight end position. It gives you 2 more weapons in your offense that a lot of other teams in this league do not have.
And that is exactly what the Voodoo did to take advantage after the interception by Monty Montgomery. Aaron Hamilton on the 14-yard touchdown catch. Brian Schmitz will put the extra point through the uprights, and the Voodoo back up by 17. That stops the clock with 4:41 to go in the third quarter. We'll take a break on the scoreboard. Voodoo lead at 44-27. We'll be back right after this timeout. Welcome back to the graveyard in New Orleans. Chris Kenyon, your host. We go to the website, govoodoo.com. We go interactive on our broadcast. And folks, if you want to log on to govoodoo.com, ask us a question, we'll gladly answer them on the phone. Kim and Paul asked, why did NBC decide not to have the game on the television day? We could not go this week, and we were looking forward to watching the game on TV, turning it down, and listening to the game on the radio, which is a New Orleans tradition with the Saints and now the Voodoo to NBC decided last week as a broadcast production decision that they were only going to air 2 games this week instead of 5. And New Orleans was one of the teams cut, and there was nothing that the Voodoo could do about that, so they were just kind of lost in the shuffle on the numbers game. Very unfortunate for us to see that happen because we want to get it on TV. There's Joe Horn down there in the front row, all-pro receiver for the Saints. Gets a big hand here from the crowd as the kickoff came bouncing to the sidelines, and I think it ended up in Joe Horn's hands, Coach. Well, they'll start at the 8-yard line, right where Joe Horn is.
Joe always has a knack of finding the football, even if it's at an arena football game.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, 1st and 10 Columbus. New Orleans leads 44-27. Final 4 minutes of the third quarter. Pass to the right side is caught by Robinson out to the 20, tackled by Pointer and Montgomery. It'll be a gain of 12. First down, the chains will move for Columbus. Ryan Bennett, the Columbus rookie, has a sidearm kind of pass. Reminds me of Bernie Kosar a little bit. Pretty quick release for the youngster.
Yeah, a pretty good release, but that sidearm release there can get you into trouble. It'll get some passes knocked down on you.
He was the quarterback at Colgate last year, a Division I AA school in Northern New York, and led them to the championship game at that level, and had one of the best years in Colgate history. He's going to scramble here, pressure. Here comes Noah after the big guys. Got him. Abdul Salam. Noah tracks him down, but it's a gain of about 5. Now look out. The fisticuffs have started along the sidelines. Chris Pointer, Calvin Coleman in there with a couple of Columbus players, and Mike New comes out from the bench. The coaches can come on the playing field, and he's getting his players out of there. He doesn't want to see anybody ejected right now, especially some key defensive guys like Pointer and Coleman.
Well, Ryan Bennis ran the ball around the left end, scrambled around the left side, and some of the Columbus players took issue with the way that the Voodoo defense took him on the wall over on the sideline.
I could see Mike New get out there in a hurry, and I think first and foremost, he does not need his players to be thrown out of this game. This game is still close enough to worry about. Even though it's a 17-point Voodoo lead, Columbus has the ball, and as you Voodoo and AFL fans have quickly come to learn, things can turn around in a hurry in this league. Well, they'll sort it out here. We'll get the calls. Well, let's listen. Both personal fouls against New Orleans only. And that brings the Bluebirds out. Both Pointer and Coleman called them personal fouls. Now we'll give Columbus the ball inside the 10-yard line. Let's get them out of town. Coach, go ahead.
Don't make it any easier on Columbus than they have to. You got to control yourself, keep yourself composed. Don't give them a chance to move the football by way of penalties. Now they're going to have tremendous field position all the way down to the 10-yard line.
Just inside the 10 is the nose of the football, so it will be first and goal for the Columbus offense. New Orleans leading by 17, 44-27 the score, 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Well, the defense, they're a feisty bunch, especially that secondary. They're going to play like that all the time. Crowd trying to get into it here, too. Then a back to pass on first and goal. Scrambling right, out of the pocket, flags go down into the end zone. Pass bobbled, incomplete, in and out of the hands of Robinson as Monty Montgomery had the coverage. Are we going to see another illegal defense against the Voodoo? Well, scrambling was Venice, so the linebackers can come outside of the pocket, but the flags are down, and the Columbus team seems to think it's against New Orleans. Out of town, New York leading Colorado 35-14. Arizona leading Dallas 35-27. Austin, our opponent next week in Texas, has gone up on Tampa 24-21. That is in the third quarter. And Orlando leads Georgia in the third 20-7.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Holding on the defense and unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense. Did they say that? What number did they say on the offense? I think it was number one.
Number one,
Jackson, the receiver. I don't know what he said or did. And that's a break for New Orleans. That's a bad penalty for Jackson on Columbus to take. Unsportsmanlike conduct after the play. So it'll be first and goal again from just inside the 10 for Columbus. Well, if nothing, that eats a minute on the clock.
Emotions are running high.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, they are. Let's keep our eye on it. Venna under center. In motion is Robinson to the right side. It'll be a pitch back to the fullback. That's the big guy, Wood. Breaks through to the 7 and brought down. Tim Martin got a piece of him, maybe about the 7 or 6 yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal, Columbus. I'm a little surprised they decided to run play on that one. And it will be 2nd down. They are going to mark it at the 7, so it's a 3-yard gain. And Venna will bring the play from his offensive coordinator into the huddle. The offensive coordinator is the assistant head coach, Pete Costanza. And I think Costanza wants to take a timeout. Or do we have an official's timeout here? Well, it's going to be an official's timeout. I think there were some equipment problems with the fullback, Wood. Now they'll reset the clock and get it started. Final 95 seconds of the 3rd quarter. New Orleans leads 44-27. Columbus knocking at the door. 2nd and goal from the 7. In motion, left side, Jackson. Jackson cuts back to the right. Venna scrambling into the end zone. Pass off the hands of the receiver. Coco Blaylock flagged down again. It goes incomplete.
He dropped that.
Should have had it.
That was there for a touchdown. He just flat dropped it. But we have flags down on the field again, Chris.
Guys, Kenny down here on the field, I got a good feeling this is going to be holding. They were really grabbing Hamilton. He was coming with a lot of pressure. No, they're going with that illegal defense thing again. Maybe they're seeing something in Hamilton and coming with the speed that he's coming. I don't know, but these guys are once again calling it tight.
Illegal defense and a personal foul face mask against New Orleans. So it'll be an automatic 1st down again, and it'll move the ball half the distance to the goal on the 1st penalty, and then again on the 2nd penalty. So mark it at about the 4-yard line, just inside the 4. Columbus will get a fresh set of downs.
Once again, we're killing ourselves with penalties. This game should not be as close as it is.
Well, it is eating the clock up, that's for sure, because the clock doesn't stop on penalties. All right. Over center is Ryan Venna, the rookie quarterback from Columbus. In motion, Cokie Blaylock left side. It'll be handoff to the fullback, Wood. Nothing doing there. Nothing at all. Now flags again after the whistle, and who's this going to go against? Metz. On the tackle, leading the way down there.
Nice job by the defensive line of New Orleans.
Yeah, Metz and Kerry Clayton squaring off after the play was over, guys.
Tim Martin was the first man in to stop the fullback for no gain. Personal foul on the offense this time, and that's a big penalty. It's 10 yards. And it's after the whistle, so they lose the down as well. So it'll be 2nd and goal from about the 12. Kenny?
A little extracurricular down there at the bottom of the pile, because Metz got up and kind of threw Clayton off to the side. And, you know, one of those are the kind of things you wonder who the referee actually saw, but he must have seen it from the beginning, because he didn't grab, he didn't make the call on Metz.
So it'll be out at the 13-yard line after the big penalty against Columbus. 2nd and goal, Destroyers. Final minute of play, 3rd quarter. Voodoo by 17. Robinson in motion. Double pumping, sidearm throw. Venna caught by Robinson at the 6. Tackled immediately. Pretty rough tackle there, too, by Monty Montgomery. Boy, when he tackles you, you know it. And it'll be 3rd and goal for Columbus from the 5 or 6 yard line.
Kind of interesting. At the end of the play, Montgomery stands on top of him, kind of like offering to help him up. And he didn't want Montgomery's help. He reached over to one of his teammates on the other side of the board to pull him up.
All right, 3rd and goal from the 5. Then a pressure from both sides. Gets the screen pass off, but losing down yards on the play. Jarrell Jackson brought down for a loss. The defense is swarming. I would think that's going to force a field goal attempt here, down by 17 to make it a 14-point game.
Great play by Monty Montgomery, deciphering that offensive play. I thought he was wide open there for a moment, and Monty came out of nowhere out of the secondary to make a great stop.
Boy, the defense has a flair for the dramatics, don't they? That's going to end the 3rd quarter of play. We'll take a timeout, come back with the final 15 minutes of regulation. Columbus stopped on the goal series. They'll try a field goal attempt when we come back. 44-27 New Orleans in front, back with the 4th quarter right after this. quarter with New Orleans up by 17. Columbus stopped on the goal line series. They got down to about the 3, but a penalty and some great defensive plays pushed them all the way back, where they are now at about the 7-yard line, where it will be field goal time for the, actually check that, is it third down? It's third down, not fourth down. And for New Orleans, Monty Montgomery with a great play in that last play. Coach, 17 up going into the final quarter. What's the key to holding this lead and getting the Voodoo their 8th win in 10 starts?
Well, they're going to throw the ball here on third down. There's no question about that. We're going to have to get some pressure on the quarterback and try to hurry him a little bit and disrupt those receivers. This is a big play here. What we want to do is hold them to a field goal and still have, after that, a possible 14-point lead.
I was thinking it was third down last play, but it's third down this play. So maybe it'll still hold true that they hold them here. All right, in motion, Robinson, all wideouts right. Then it takes the snap, back to pass. Robinson's open in the end zone, got free, touchdown Columbus, as Robinson got by his man and was open in the corner. Then makes a strike on the pass, and the lead goes back down to 11, pending the extra point. Big play there by Robinson on 3rd and goal from the 8.
He's their go-to guy, and it was a well-executed play, a well-thrown ball, and he was open in the right corner of the end zone.
And Montgomery was just late getting over to him, guys. I mean, he had the right coverage on. He was the one coming in the motion. They made a little bit of a switch, but he was just late.
Extra point is no good again, well wide by Steve Vedetek. Boy, problems with extra points here today. Each team has missed 2, and it makes it an 11-point game. 44-33 New Orleans leads with a timeout on the field.
Guys, while we've got a second here, it was interesting that during the change of the field at the end of the third quarter there, Aaron Hamilton was down there talking to the referee with head coach Mike New, and the referee just kind of shoved Hamilton out of the way and said, okay, I'm not listening to you anymore, and listen to what Mike had to say. But obviously, I mean, you can just tell that, and they're complaining about the way that they're holding him. They keep hooking him, and he's just giving a good first quick step, no matter who's trying to block him, and he's been beating them all day. And the only thing they can do is try to grab him and try to hold him, and it's very, very blatant and very obvious, but they haven't been getting the calls, and that's what Mike and Hamilton were down there talking to him about. I don't know how far. We'll find out if the conversation helps them, or if they actually will get any more calls. But as of right now, they really did. As tight as they've been calling this game, they've been letting that stuff slide a lot.
Chris Pointer is a guy who gets very excited and emotional out there. And New Orleans with a win today will be 8-2, tied with San Jose for the best record in the AFL. And I think we're going to keep our eye on Pointer right here. He's back deep with Aaron Bailey. Let's see if these guys can make something happen on the return.
Well, there's a lot of time left, Chris and Kenny, and it's going to be important here for the Voodoo to put some points back on the board to stop the momentum here of Columbus.
The drives for Columbus this half have been long, taking a lot of time. New Orleans hasn't had the ball much in offense. All right, Bailey out of his own end zone. 5, pressured, gets to the 10, 3 out to the right side, holds on to that football with 2 hands, brought down at about the 14. He wanted to make sure there was no fumble on the play. New Orleans will start 1st and 10. Well, speaking of the excitement of battling for the best overall record in the AFL, here's what Chris Pointer had to say about that.
Battling for first in the league, it's good, it's there, but right now we focusing on game, the first game, each game, game for game, it's nice to be on top of everybody hunting for it. That's the bad thing about it. Come to your house, everybody want to win, but, if we're number one, we're number one, but it makes no difference. We're going to be at the dance at the end of the game.
Chris Pointer always with some good fights there on his attitude, and that really portrays with that New Orleans secondary. You can see the way they all play. They're all very similar in stature and the way they play. Well, in the first play by Fitzgerald, he draws the defense offsides again, and it'll be 1st and 5. Move the ball out to the 19-yard line as the Voodoo will have an easy 5 yards here, hopefully, to get them 1st down.
Well, once again, that was their nose tackle. There's really no excuse for that, but once again, the voice inflection there by Fitzgerald. He does a terrific job with his cadence.
All right, on 1st down. And 5 now. In motion, left side. Ira Gooch looking for the double pump. As Fitzgerald looking downfield for Gooch. He's hit, pass, bobbled, now intercepted by Columbus. and it's going to be picked off by LeVar Glover. He brings it back to the 15 to the 20. Big play right there by the Columbus defense, and LeVar Glover made a nice play, and Columbus will get the ball back as the plot thickens.
Ira Gooch thought he was interfered with, but the officials didn't think so, and Columbus comes up with an interception and have the ball on the 20-yard line.
Yeah, Bob, I think it was just good timing. They got there, he got there right at the right time. I think the throw was a little bit behind him as well. Not much, but a little bit, but I think just good timing by the referee, by the defender on the play.
Well, Fitzgerald was 12 of 18 for 152 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. After 3 quarters, his first pass of the fourth finds its way into the opponent's hands, and Columbus down by 11. Will have a 1st and 10 of their own 20. Venna looking for the home run ball. This one goes out of bounds. The pass way overthrown looking for Robinson was Venna, but was it overthrown by 15 yards because Robinson was held? There's a flag down. I think the New Orleans secondary might be called on the penalty.
I believe they're going to call it on Monty Montgomery for holding in the second half.
That's exactly right, Bob. I mean, the referee, line judge, or whoever it was that was back there. 25.
Yep.
I mean, he immediately grabbed him. He made the break on him. That's a good matchup that they found right now. When they get that one-on-one matchup, you could bet they're going to keep going back to that because this guy's got more speed than Montgomery. He's getting the better half on him right now. Montgomery's laid the lumber on him a few times, but he's definitely beating him with his legs. 37 points in the first half by the New Orleans Voodoo. Only 7 here in the second half. 12:25 to go in the fourth quarter. Voodoo leading by 11, but it is a tenuous lead right now. 1st and 10 on the penalty at midfield. 25-yard stripe midfield for Venna and company. Venna quick pass, caught up the middle. That's Robinson again. He's going to get 10 more. Montgomery tackles him, but not before he gets across the 15-yard line for another first down by Columbus. Robinson has been their go-to guy right now. I mean, these guys are talking back and forth to each other on almost every single play. I'm talking about Montgomery and Robinson, the two number 25. This is a nice little battle to watch between these two today.
Two good players with a lot of pride battling each other.
Columbus looking to cut the lead down into single digits for the first time since the first quarter. Then in the end zone, wide open Robinson, touchdown Columbus.
An obvious blown coverage by the Voodoo. I mean, there wasn't anybody around him.
Montgomery, he was in motion, came right at Monty. Monty just kind of didn't even chuck him at the line. Looked like he might have nailed, was going to try to square him up at the line of scrimmage, but let him run right by him. He's talking to Coleman right now. Obviously, in the coverage that they were in, Coleman was supposed to pick up the motion guy, but he didn't.
I think they're going to try for the 2-point conversion down by 5 to try to make it a 3-point game. And the Voodoo have been outscored now in this second half by 3 touchdowns to 1. So Venna out there now. I think that because of the play clock, Columbus is going to be forced to take a timeout. Boy, Coach, you don't want to take a timeout on a conversion after a touchdown. That's a waste in the second half. That might come back to hurt them.
That could. They want to make sure they're going to make the right decision as to whether to go for 2 here.
They'll talk it over. One of 5 games here today in the AFL. New Orleans trying to match San Jose with the 8-2 record that the SaberCats have. San Jose winning Friday night against Chicago. Both Chicago and San Jose and New Orleans started the week 7-2. A 3-way tie for the best record in the AFL. Well, since San Jose beat Chicago, Chicago falls to 7-3, San Jose up to 8-2. The Voodoo are trying to be 8-2 as well.
Well, Chris, so far,
swung here, Coach.
So far, I was just going to say, so far this game, this has been a game of 2 halves. One dominated by the Voodoo in the first half, and now Columbus is, like you said, has scored 3 times in the second half here, and they're only down by 5 points prior to this extra point.
They're going to try for the 2-point conversion to make it a 3-point game. Crowd on their feet, urging the defense on. Robinson's been the man. He's in motion. Venna back to pass in the pocket, looking in the middle to Robinson. Incomplete. Flags go down. Robinson was held by Montgomery, and they're going to get another shot at the 2-point conversion.
They ran over one of the referees on the play as well, and they're going to go after Montgomery with, once again, holding Robinson.
The Voodoo secondary having trouble keeping up with Robinson right now.
No question. No question. He tried to square him up at the line of scrimmage like he's done to many other receivers throughout the season, but he can't get this guy today. Robinson is just too quick for him.
Monty's got to settle himself down.
Right.
Robinson came into the game third on the team in receiving and catches and in yards, but today he's really been the go-to guy. Cornelius White has been their number one all season, but today it's been Robinson.
They're still talking it over down here. What they're going to call, I don't know, but...
Oh, and sportsmanlike conduct against Robinson. And they're pushing off of the umpire is what they're going to call Robinson on. I thought Montgomery held him. And so the two-point conversion's no good.
The way the flags came out, it looked like that happened before, he actually pushed. And they were going after Montgomery for the hold. But I guess he tried to use the umpire there for a pick.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. All right, timeout on the field. We'll take one as well. The Voodoo lead is now 5 as Columbus has come as close as they have since the first quarter. 10:58 to go. Columbus to kick off as we return. It's a line drive by Viditek. This one will go off the netting. Aaron Bailey will catch it in his own end zone. Bailey forward, trying to get through to the 5, to the 10, and hit hard. Brought down to the 11-yard line. Right into a brick wall there. JoJo Polk, I think that's Polk back in the game. And he makes the hit on Bailey. Where John Fitzgerald and New Orleans offense will come out first and 10 from their own 11. Coach Palstick, New Orleans needs points. They need a touchdown here because they have got, they had a 17-point lead, which is now down to 5. And the Voodoo need to respond right now.
It's going to be important for the Voodoo to reestablish momentum. They're only down by, Columbus is only down by 5 points, and the offense here is going to have to control the football, take some time off the clock, and put some points on the board.
And guys got a little bit of an explanation from the referees down here as to what happened with that Robinson and Montgomery play. It's the second time. They've already warned him once. He's used the referee as a pick once before in the game. They told him if he did it again, they'd call it, and they did.
Penalty on the kickoff against Columbus, so it's a 21-yard line. Bobbling the snap as the quarterback Fitzgerald still pitches to Kern, cuts the corner left, and is hit to the wall after he gains 3 on the play. That didn't look good from the start. It'll be out to the 23-yard line, where it'll be second down, Voodoo, just before the midfield stripe of the 25.
As you mentioned there, Chris, that was a fumbled center quarterback exchange, and Fitzgerald pitched it out there, and it really wasn't a good pitch, and Dan Kern did a nice job corralling that football and holding on to it and gaining a couple yards.
Second and 8. Bailey in motion straight up the gut, and flags fly before the snap. Again, the line moved. Lamont Moore, when he was hurt on that catch in the third quarter, came off the field limping. It's his right calf, and he is questionable his return today.
Once again, great job by the quarterback, John Fitzgerald, with his voice inflection on the cadence, drawing Columbus offsides.
So it'll be second down and 3 across midfield to the Columbus 22-yard line. 9.5 to go. This game has tightened up. Voodoo leading by 5, 44-39. Fitzgerald under center. Gooch in motion right side. It'll go to him on the sidelines. Off his hands and incomplete. And some more extracurriculars with Gooch in the defensive back, LeVar Glover. Boy, Fitzgerald fired a cannon right to Gooch, and it went off his hands. I don't think Gooch was expecting such a hard pass, but the rookie's got to come up with that.
He definitely heard footsteps.
Okay, third down and 3 now for New Orleans at the Columbus 22. I'll say it again, guys. The Voodoo need a touchdown here. They really need to get some points on the board in the way of 6. They've only scored 7 points this whole half after 37 in the first half.
8:44 remaining.
Quick drop, Fitzgerald left side, has Gooch. He's going to catch it right at the marker. Let's see where they spot this ball. I think it's enough for the first down.
I think so too, Chris. His foot was across the first down marker there, and I think he has the first down.
It'll be at the 19-yard line, and it will be a first down for New Orleans. I noticed they never measure. I don't know if they can measure. I think it might be just the referee's call no matter what. I'm not sure if they can come out and measure. I've never seen a measurement yet.
Now that you think about it, we've never seen a measurement.
Inside the 20 to the 19, the Voodoo offense on first and 10. Trying to get the 2-score lead back. Draw play, Dan Kern, busted 15, down to the 10, tackled after a 9-yard gain. Dan Kern from stop to start really had his momentum going forward quickly. Best draw play of the game for Dan Kern.
Nice call and nice execution. Good run by Danny Kern.
They're going to get an 8, Kenny?
I was going to say another good thing right now, that clock continues to run. They definitely, as you guys have said since this series began, they need a score. That's vital, but they also need that clock to run.
It'll be 2nd and 2 for the Voodoo from the Columbus 11-yard line. All wideouts are on the line of scrimmage, all left. And John Fitzgerald, the quarterback keeper, a little slow to get started, but he's tackled forward, and where they mark that will be interesting. He may have gotten the first. It's going to be close. It's going to be inside the 10. He needs to get to just inside the 9. Called a yard short. It'll be 3rd and 1. What a big play coming up right here. They going to hand off again?
They're going to give the ball to Curran. I really believe they are.
3rd and 1 for the New Orleans offense.
But at the same time, this would be a nice time for a play-action pass. Fake it to Curran and throw it to one of those tight ends or one of the receivers as they did against Carolina a couple weeks ago.
Tight ends have been effective today. Bailey in motion left. It is pitched to Curran. He bobbles it, gets it back. Curran untouched into the end zone. Touchdown! Well, it was a bad exchange on the pitchback, but Curran kept his eyes on the ball, gathered it in, and nobody was near Dan Curran. That's a 10-yard touchdown run, and the Voodoo get to 50 points with 6.5 to go.
Columbus lost contain. There was no support player out there, and Curran just walked into the end zone. There wasn't a soul around him.
No, and one of the defender on that was covering Bailey on the play had his back the whole time, just running with Bailey, trying to keep up with him, and Curran just kind of ran behind him.
Yeah, that was JoJo Pope, the defensive specialist. Never saw Curran running in there. Brian Smith will put the extra point through the upright and good. And with 6:07 to go in the 4th quarter, it's New Orleans 51 and Columbus 39. We'll be back right after this timeout.
If Nissan makes it, Ray Brett Nissan discounts it. Tomorrow at Ray Brett Nissan on the West Bank during March.
Welcome back, everybody. Chris Kenyon along with Saints tight end coach Bob Halsing and Kenny Wilkerson. As the New Orleans Voodoo have a 51-39 lead. Bob, when you're up in the 4th quarter, this is what I love. The clock runs when the play clock starts, so it's running down before even the kickoff by Brian Smith. It's under 6 to go.
Our offense did what we said they had to do. They had to put points on the board, they had to get the momentum back, and they had to take time off the clock. So they did a terrific job there. Now we're back up by 11.
Smith will kick it off. This one will go off the netting, taken by Robinson in the end zone, straight up the middle. 5. Robinson to the left side, 10, shakes the defender, then Ira Gooch grabs his jersey and puts him into the wall. Man, I love that wall. I'm glad I'm not down there. All right, 1st and 10, Columbus from their own 11. Coach?
That had to hurt. That hurt me all the way up there.
Oh, boy. That 4-foot dashboard is padded, but I got a feel when you go into it like that, it doesn't feel padded. All right, the New Orleans defense trying to make a stand here with 5:15 to go. Voodoo leading 51-39. Columbus, with an official's timeout, will start from their own. They'll mark it at the 12-yard line.
We had we're getting a couple objects being thrown from the stands out on the field, and we don't need that. We don't need that. We have too much class for that.
And the referees are going to reset the clock. And now we'll start with 5:15 to go. All right, Ryan Venna, the quarterback, on the line. They're going pretty quick from the line. In motion is Twiner. Venna pressure, throws left side to Robinson at the 17, caught. And then he's met immediately by Gooch and Coleman, and he's wrapped up, knocked backwards. He'll get about 5 on the play, and it will be 2nd down Columbus.
Good pressure by the defensive front, and it was a nice job by Venna getting rid of the ball under pressure.
Real quick huddle by the Columbus offense. Ryan Venna makes the call. 4:40 to go and counting. New Orleans by 12. 2nd and 5. Again, Robinson in motion. Up the middle, the pass is caught by Robinson across midfield, down to the 20, tackled by Monty Montgomery at the 18, where they'll mark it 1st down Columbus. They're moving quickly. The Destroyers not even going into a huddle here. Well, a real quick one. Still a lot of time left, though.
A lot of time. We're having a difficult time stopping Robinson.
He has been the go-to man here today. 7 catches through 3 quarters. He's already got a couple more here. Looking for Robinson again. Is Venna into the end zone? Touchdown, a diving catch by Robinson. He has done it again. And with 4 minutes to go, the Destroyers cut the lead again.
He was well covered by Monty Montgomery. He just laid out for the ball, made a great catch against the wall there, and scored the touchdown.
Makes it 51-45, and the kicker will come out, Steve Viditek, for the extra point to try to cut the lead to 5.
That matchup is there for him almost on every single play.
Here is the pick by Viditek. This time he makes good. He's missed a couple today, but the extra point is good, and it stops the clock with 3:34 to go. New Orleans leads 51-46. I don't know if the Voodoo can kill the clock here, but they can certainly put this game away if they can eat most of the clock and again get another touchdown. This is, without question, the biggest possession of the game coming up thus far today for both teams.
Yeah, this is going to be critical here. We need to get a touchdown on this drive. A field goal won't do it. Well, a field goal, yes, would put us up by 8.
Yeah, that's
a field goal would put us up by 8.
Well, New Orleans 4-0 here on the friendly confines of the arena, trying to keep a perfect record on their home turf and make it 5-0, 8-2 overall before their toughest two-game stretch of the season, starting next week in Austin and 2 weeks from this weekend in San Jose. 2 playoff contenders coming up on the road for New Orleans.
Guys, what they're going to have to do, as Charles was just talking about, not only burn the clock, but they got to go down and get another score, because when Columbus gets the ball back, they're going to keep going to that Robinson connection. They're hot right now. Robinson and Montgomery cannot run step for step with him, and every time they get that matchup, that's where they're going to go with the ball.
No onside kick. It's off the netting. Takes a bounce. It's a loose ball. Who's going to get it? I think Columbus has the football. They do. Columbus recovers at the New Orleans 2-yard line, and the Destroyers will have a first and goal to try to take their first lead of the game. Holy cow, talk about a terrible break for New Orleans.
And that's another turnover. That's 3 turnovers today by Columbus, and we've only gotten 1. And
that is how these games can be won and lost, right there.
They have the ball now on the 1.5-yard line, and they're only 5 points down with 3:19 left.
You know, I'm surprised that Mike New had everybody up on the line or near the line except for Aaron Bailey. Usually there's support back there in the name of Chris Pointer, but Bailey was the only man deep, and he couldn't handle that carom off the netting. All right, well, first and goal Columbus inside the 2. They're looking for their first lead of the game. And it's going to be a quarterback keeper. Venna rolls forward, does not get in the end zone, but scampers forward inside the 1, tackled at about the 1-foot line. That's the play of the game so far, that kickoff. And I was thinking perhaps onside kick. Well, they did better than that. They kicked it all the way down and still got the ball.
It came at a critical time.
Yeah, they got an onside kick and first and goal out of it.
You're right. You're right. 2.5 to go. Columbus for their first lead. Second and goal from about the 1-foot line. In motion. Jackson will be another quarterback keeper. Yeah, Ben up to the right side. In the end zone. Touchdown, but flags fly. And it looks as though it may be in the area of holding on the offense.
And they're not signaling. I don't think he got in, Chris.
No, you're right. They did not signal.
That
ball crossed the line, though, without question.
From my vantage point here, I thought that ball broke the plane. He stretched out and it broke the plane.
He almost lost it as it went over the goal line. And we have B.J. Cohen down on the field as well. So an injury for B.J. Cohen, their top lineman. And we wait for the penalty as well. No indication yet. So no touchdown, Kenny. The clock is stopped with the injury. 2:15 left in the game. New Orleans ahead, 51-46, and it's offside against the defense. And so it will be second and goal again from inside the 1-yard line. If you're Mike New right now, do you want to stop the clock and get time left when you have the ball? Or is there too much time to worry about that yet?
I think there's too much time to worry about that at this point.
And guys, another thing, they've gone big right now. I mean, they've got a big lineup in there. Anderle and Jones are really, really big guys. And from a physical standpoint right now, especially on that last play, they're really taking it to the Voodoo. Now, early in this game, looked like maybe they had worn them down a little bit. And this Voodoo team, has been very, a lot of pride in the fact that they've been able to wear a lot of teams out, and they're in excellent shape. But
these guys, as far as the standpoint of right now in this game, they are taking it to them physically.
Well, the Voodoo certainly in dire straits right now. They have not trailed today, but Columbus is 1 foot away from taking their first lead with 2:15 to go. It's second and goal. And it came on a turnover on the kickoff as Aaron Bailey could not play it off the net. It bounced, and the live ball was recovered by Columbus on the New Orleans 2-yard line. And New Orleans takes their first time out of the game. I think
they like to
want to keep B.J. Cohen in there.
Absolutely, that's what I was just going to say. He wants to take a little time here, give B.J. a chance to recover. He's a key defender on that front line.
Columbus has too many players out there. They're going to have to take a couple of them off.
And switching it up a little bit, going a little smaller.
Yeah, you're right. Second and goal, Columbus from the 1-foot line. Let's see if Bennett keeps for the third straight time. Hand off to the fullback. He's not going to get in. Wilmot Perry stopped for a loss of about 1 as the defense is standing tall on the goal line. With now 2 minutes to go, it's going to be third and goal from just outside the 1 as he lost a yard.
Terrific job by Tim Martin that time.
Third and goal. Columbus down by 5, and the clock is ticking. 1:45 to go. Everybody at the arena on their feet now. This is the loudest the crowd has been today. Will they keep it on the ground for the third straight time? In motion. That's Jackson right side. Take the handoff. Benny's going to throw to the receiver. Robinson wide open. Touchdown, but flags are down.
Play action pass. Ran the naked to the right after faking to the running back, but I believe there was a holding call on Columbus.
Well, that would negate the touchdown and the lead, and that is what it is. Oh, what a big play there, a big call. And that's going to take them back 10 yards. Wow. So it's going to be third and goal again, but this time from the 11-yard line, and that completely changes the complexion of this play coming up. Well, you're going to hear the crowd again right now. They are going to get up. A minute 26 to go. New Orleans by 5.
No doubt, as you said before, Chris, it's the loudest it's been in here all day. Just at the right time for them, and that definitely helped with that penalty.
Here it is, third and goal for the 12. They need 6. Bennett, under center, takes the snap, looking for Robinson. He's pressured. He's going to go down. Tim Martin with the sack. And it's going to be fourth and goal from almost midfield. What a play by Tim Martin. That's the play of the game.
The play of the game is right. Great job by our defensive front. They got a great push on the quarterback, and Tim Martin sacks the quarterback for about another 10-yard loss.
Yeah, that is a huge loss. That's actually a 12-yard sack, and it's going to be fourth and goal. They're going to have to go for it. The clock stops. We are at the 1-minute warning. And they need 23 yards. Well, you know, it was first and goal from inside the 1. And the Voodoo defense coming up with their most courageous stand of the season thus far. Not quite done yet, though.
No, it's not over yet, guys. I tell you what, Chris Pointer, 2 plays ago, he kind of motioned to the crowd, and that got everybody up on their feet.
He's doing it again.
Since then, they have stayed on their feet, and they have been loud. I mean, very, very loud as they're coming to life once again. Robinson and Montgomery, they're not matched up right now, but they're going to try to get that ball to Robinson.
All right, here we go. Fourth and goal from almost midfield. Throwing it up toward the end zone. Pushed out of bounds is the receiver at the 3-yard line. Even if he caught it, as he goes into the crowd, it's short of the goal, and the Voodoo will get the ball on downs, and it is going to be incomplete. Look at Joe Horn give it to the receiver. could be the decisive factor in this game.
I mean, look, he had a step and he had him open there for a second, but Montgomery and Horner, mostly Montgomery, just timed it perfect. He couldn't have timed it any more perfect than that to send him not only an incompletion, but send him into the stand.
Plus the fact you got to throw the ball into the end zone.
Right. That even if he caught it, they would have lost it on the downs at the 3. All right, well, let's see. Columbus has 2 timeouts left. I bet they would like that third one back, but they had to take on the extra point. It'll be a handoff to Dan Kern, up the middle. He'll get 4 or 5. Immediately a timeout taken by Columbus. It'll stop the clock with 47 seconds to go. Voodoo leading by 5, trying to keep their perfect record at home intact. And it wasn't easy, and it hasn't been easy, especially here in this fourth quarter, but they have managed to hold on to the lead. We'll call it 2nd and 5, give Kern 5, inside Columbus territory to the 22. But where the ball is right now is not important, Coach. It's holding on to the ball, and a first down wins the game.
That's correct. We have to bleed the clock and control the line of scrimmage, take time off the clock, get a first down, then it's all over.
Columbus can only stop the game once more. There's 47 seconds to go. The play clock is 25 seconds in the game, so there's at least a couple of plays left.
Give the ball to Danny Kern. There we go.
He got it again. Flags come down as he takes the handoff. He'll get to the 20, gain of 2. Coach, what's the call? Oh, late flags again after the whistle. More pushing and shoving. And when you're ahead with the ball in the last minute, you don't want to see the hankies come out because it stops the clock. And also convert your field position. All right, we'll wait for the call. So what's the first call going to be? Offside on the defense, and then we have some personal fouls after?
It's going to be interesting to see how the officials sort this out here. These 2 penalties, this could be critical here.
43 seconds to go, and it prevents Columbus from having to use their last timeout.
And at the same time, we're trying to get a first down here.
Right. This game far from over yet. Far from over. The referees are talking it over. Offside defense. Declined. Well, it's a personal foul against Ira Gooch on the New Orleans offense. Offside against the Columbus defense. Coach, the personal foul negates the offside because it's a bigger foul. That's why it goes against New Orleans, right? So look at this. From 3rd and 3 to 2nd and 16. And with the clock stopped with 43 seconds to go, Columbus can stop the clock after this play. You keep it on the ground, though, Coach?
I would still keep it on the ground here, try to bleed that clock a little bit more.
Well, the officials take a timeout themselves again. They want to talk it over. Well, the good news is it looks as though Dallas is going to lose. They came into today's action a game behind New Orleans at 6-3, but Arizona's up on them 65-40 late in the fourth quarter. No finals yet. Austin's up on Tampa by 10 in the fourth quarter. They came in a game behind New Orleans, and those 2 teams will meet next week in Texas. All right, back to the action here. 43 seconds to go. Hand off to Kern, left side. Trying to bust it loose, and he's pushed out of bounds, so the clock stops again after he got 6 or 7 yards. But Kern did not want to go out of bounds. He did, and stops the clock with 39 seconds to go. Boy, New Orleans is not managing this clock well in the final minute on offense, Bob.
Well, good job by Danny Kern there, picking up about 5 yards on the play, and they ran a toss sweep rather than running up the middle, which is going to take a little more time off the clock. And so here we are, 3rd down.
But they did not make Columbus use their last timeout. They'll have to probably use it here. I'm sure that New Orleans will not go out of bounds on this play. It's 3rd and 11. I don't think Bashir will put it up, but let's see. Yeah, he is. He's going to put it up. Looking for the first down. Looking for Bailey. Deep. Bailey Hill makes the catch anyway. Touchdown, Voodoo! That's going to go against, well, we'll wait and see, but I think the defender held on to Bailey. Is Bailey going to be called for pushing off?
No, I don't think so. I think that's defensive holding all the way because he had to push him off of him after he'd already ran. I'll tell you another interesting note real fast, Scott, is that down here on the bench area, several of the players getting frustrated right before that play and saying, hey, we're not playing to win. And what do? Put it up in the end zone and get the touchdown.
John Fitzgerald and Aaron Bailey go for the whole ball action connect. The touchdown stands. It is good. And the Voodoo have pretty much put this one away. I say that now. but the extra point pending will make it 58-46 with 33 seconds to go. Snap is there, the hole is up, and it is good as the Voodoo take the lead 58-46. Boy, 3rd and 11. You thought for sure they'd run it, force a timeout, but John Fitzgerald with confidence in his go-to guy, Aaron Bailey, throws it deep, throws it up, and Bailey comes down with it even as he was being interfered with for the touchdown, and that will hopefully put this one away.
He's a money ball player and came up with a big play at the right time.
Well, the Voodoo now 33 seconds away from going to 8-2 and staying perfect at home. 58 points is the biggest offensive production of the season for New Orleans, surpassing their earlier total of 55, which they set twice at Georgia and here against Tampa Bay. Well, it's good to see when your offense has your worst performance of the season last week to come back with their best performance points-wise of the season here today.
That was a good call by Mike New there on 3rd down. I don't fault the call that Mike made on the 2nd down, but I do fault Danny Kern for running out of bounds and stopping that clock.
Well, hopefully it'll be all for naught as the Voodoo 33 seconds away from holding on to the win.
No, 38 seconds. 33 seconds, excuse me. That's a lot of, it sounds kind of a crazy thing to say, but that's a lot of time in this game. That's a lot of time in this league.
Well, if you look at the kickoffs, because they can be received by other teams much easier than in the NFL because of that netting, you do have a chance for a couple of possessions. All right, Schmitz will kick off. The Voodoo, of course, they have other ideas. From his own end line, he kicks it deep. This one will go off the netting, off the pipe, and this is a live ball bouncing around. It's going to be taken by White to the 5. He's wrapped up. Look at the defense down there, swarming. Noah down there, along with Coleman and Gooch, Montgomery, and with 29 seconds to go, it'll be 1st down, Columbus from their own 6-yard line. They're going to need a hope, a prayer, and then a little bit more.
Great coverage by the kickoff team at the right time.
Well, they've got to get deep quick. They've got a timeout left, and then they've got to get an onside kick. They need 2 scores, down 58-46. With a timeout left, they may use it right here after the first completion. Pass goes to the tight end. That's going to be caught by Jones. Jones scampers all the way upfield, almost to midfield, tackled by Noah at the 23-yard line, and they will take their final timeout of the game with 22 seconds to go. And the ball will be marked at the 23, so the midfield stripe's 25. That's 27 yards away from the end zone. Coach, what do you think? You throw it up in the end zone a couple times, and you get the ball, get the touchdown, then you got onside kick it?
They have to do that, Chris. They have no other option but to do that.
So their final timeout will give Brian Venna, the quarterback, time to talk it over with his offensive coordinator. Voodoo leading by 12. They have not trailed at all today. New Orleans went on top 7-0. Columbus came back and tied it at 7. The Voodoo have had the lead since.
Now we have to play smart on defense, loosen up our secondary a little bit, let them catch the short passes in front of us. They still need 2 scores to win this football game. So give them the short pass, swarm to the football, make the tackle, take time off the clock, and put this game away.
1st and 10 from their own 23 for Columbus. Venna back to pass. He's throwing it up the middle, looking for Twiner. He can't come up with it. It was behind him a little bit. Montgomery was on him. It's incomplete. 2nd down. That was down at about the 7. Actually, probably better for Columbus they didn't catch that because that would have really eaten a lot of clock time. 18 seconds to go. Well, just like that 4th and goal from out at the 23-yard line after the sack and penalty, they throw it short of the end zone on this play. I think they've got to throw the ball into the end zone, Coach.
Well, there's no question about it.
Listen to the crowd. Chant the hey, 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 goodbye to the Columbus team. 18 seconds to go before it's official. Venna takes the snap. He'll throw a screen left to Robinson. He's got some daylight. He's going to be pushed out of bounds, but he lost the football. No whistle. And it's going to be recovered by New Orleans. Picking up his money, Montgomery is a live ball. He might take it to the house. Montgomery, 20, 15, 10. Touchdown. Touchdown. Oh, Marty Montgomery and the fireworks go off. point?
Well, let me ask you a question here. Did they call the touchdown?
I saw one referee put his arms in the air for a touchdown. I think you've got to kick the extra point.
I think they're still talking about it. He got in.
It's a win. That's the only thing we know. Let's wait for the referee. I think they've got it figured out now. We'll get the call from the referees. I think they got to kick the extra point is basically what it comes down to. Still the referee's waiting. They've got it marked at the hash marks, which would lead me to believe that it is a touchdown. There's no time left on the clock. And the Voodoo get over 60 points for the first time this season.
And it hasn't been put up on the scoreboard yet.
Right, Bob. That's what I'm waiting for. They haven't even put it up yet.
Maybe the clock operator went home. He saw 000 on the clock. But the touchdown is good. So Monty Montgomery's going to get it. I think it's going to be a 40-yard touchdown fumble recovery. And Fitzgerald's just going to throw this two-point conversion into the crowd. And the celebration is on. The Voodoo have defeated the Columbus Destroyers, and New Orleans moves to 5-0 on their home field.
Another exciting football game. A great job by the Voodoo team and their coaching staff. Now we're 8-2, and we needed this win going into two tough games here on the road.
We'll take a break, come back with a post game. 64-46, the Voodoo defeat the Columbus Destroyers. We'll be back right after this timeout.
The St. Tammany Home Builders Association is raising the
Now that's how you finish a football game. Monty Montgomery, 40-yard fumble recovery for the touchdown, and the Voodoo win it officially. The final score, 64-46. They go 5-0 at home, 8-2 overall. Kenny Wilkerson is down on the floor with head coach Mike New.
All right, guys. Mike, what happened just now? They did finally put the points up, so he did score. Yeah, he scored, and it's a league rule. You do have to attempt the extra point. So in case you score like that and a team is down by 2, they have to have an opportunity to block it and score on the on the return to tie the game up. So you do have to attempt it. We just threw it in the stands right there.
It looked like disaster on the kickoff, and the fumble. They get the ball first and goal, and what a tremendous defensive stand for your team.
Yeah, defense did a great job, and to get those sacks like that and to keep pushing them back, give them all the credit because that was a tough situation to be in. And we came back out on the field offensively. We forced him to use a timeout. Unfortunately, Dan got positive yards, but he went out of bounds, so we had no choice on third down but to throw. We had to go for a first down because if not, they get the ball back again.
Kind of fitting that for somebody like Montgomery, I know it's 8-on-8 out here. It's two teams, but him and Robinson, they just battled with each other all day.
Yeah, they did. Those guys are competitors, and, Monty's as tough as they come, but I give 25 credit from Columbus. He fought and battled, and, he took his best shot against Monty, which Monty's become quickly one of the best in the league.
And that defensive stand started. Chris Porna, I'm not sure if you noticed it, he's the one that kind of turned around and got the crowd into it, and they stayed very, very loud in here today.
The fans did a tremendous job. Those guys make this environment tough to play in for a visiting team, and so when you have that kind of loud environment in a goal line situation like that, that definitely played a part in our game.
Thank you, Mike. Congratulations.
Okay, thanks, Kenny.
Okay, Mike New down here on the field. Send it back upstairs to you guys, and then we'll talk to some players in a little bit. Well, they were within a foot of taking the lead, Columbus. And on that kick that Kenny just talked about, that came off the netting, recovered by the Destroyers, they were 1 foot away from taking their first lead with about a minute and a half to go, which could have sealed the fate for New Orleans in their first loss at home, but the defense was awesome with their best stand of the season.
The critical play that enabled the New Orleans Voodoo to stop them, because Columbus ran a naked play, completed into the end zone for a touchdown, right. And there was a holding on the play which negated the touchdown, which would have put them up in the lead.
Wow, what a turn of events here in the last couple of minutes of this game at the Graveyard. So for the Voodoo, they move to 8-2 on the season, and there are two teams now atop of the AFL standings, the Voodoo and the San Jose Sabercats, both 8-2. Those two teams will meet 2 weeks from now. It's going to be a Saturday night game in California against San Jose. That could be a battle for first place overall in the Arena Football League. For New Orleans, 5-0 at home, coach. This is a great run here at the Graveyard. Unbelievable to win these games at home.
Well, they have a great home field advantage with these fans. I can attest to that. They really got behind this team here in a critical time of the game, and consequently, New Orleans made a couple big plays. We stopped them down there on the goal line. We sacked their quarterback for a 12-yard sack, which really put them out of scoring position to a certain extent. They had to throw some long passes, and they weren't able to get it in, and thus we won the football game.
With the victory for the Voodoo, they will take their 8-2 record to the road next week against Austin. Austin came into today's game 6-3, and they are leading Tampa Bay by 3 points with 28 seconds to go. So that one's still up for grabs. We'll get you a final score on that one, as well as a final score on the Colorado game. They came in 7-3 to today's game. They are trailing New York by 10 with 47 seconds to go. All right, lots more to do here in the postgame show. Kenny Wilkerson's going to be down in the field when we come back with some of the victorious Voodoo players. We're going to also open up the phone lines a little bit later on. Welcome back to the New Orleans Arena. Chris Kenyon, your host, along with New Orleans Saints tight ends coach Bob Palcic, and Kenny Wilkerson is on the field. We haven't heard from Kenny in a few minutes here. He's trying to track down a couple of the players. We've already talked with Mike New since the game has ended. Coach New pretty fired up down there, that's for sure. Now let's take a look at some of the out-of-town scores. Kenny, have you got a player down there? We'll get to Kenny in just a second here. But some out-of-town final scores in. We just have a couple of finals in. And the Orlando Predators, don't look now, but the Predators are coming on. And the Predators are a team that really last week got themselves going, defeating this Voodoo team in Orlando. And today they really pound on the Georgia Force, only allowing the Force to score 7 points, 30-7. The final score in that one, boy, oh boy, 30-7. In Arena Football League, 7 is an unbelievable number to allow a team to score in an entire game. Coach, you've got some final stats too here, and some interesting stats. I think turnovers were again a big key in this game, and we say it each and every game. And look at the defense. They scored 2 touchdowns today. When they score touchdowns on defense, they win football games. They've been doing that consistently here at home.
Well, the defense did a terrific job. Columbus actually had 22 first downs to our 13. They had 47 yards rushing to our 39. But the critical point is, again, they were 21 of 30 with 2 interceptions. Both those interceptions were touchdowns.
Right.
Okay? And we were 14 of 22 with 1 interception. They outgained us 300 yards to 222. And we each lost a fumble. So we won the turnover ratio. We won the turnover ratio, and that was the critical point of the game, along with our defense stepping up at some critical times and making some big plays and putting this game out of reach.
And guys, if I could jump in there with you, it kind of turns into a madhouse down here on the field as soon as they open it up with the fan. But I am with John Fitzgerald right now as he signs autographs. And John, game on the line, 3rd down, you put it up in the air, you get the score.
Well, it's easy when you have a line as good as we do. I don't know if I got hit tonight up front. A couple times I had to move with pressure, but that's to be expected. When it came down to it, it was 3rd down. We needed to play. Who do you look for? You look for number 7. He got open man to man. They had to hold him, and he still got open.
Y'all talked all week about bouncing back and coming back from last week's defeat in the fashion that game happened. How do you feel like the team responded as far as from a standpoint, the entire game and how they played, putting last week behind them?
Well, we really focused. We knew that we were running the gun a little bit. People are going to be shooting for us. They're going to come out after us because we got a big target on our shoulders, being leading the league. It all boils down to us taking care of our own self and not worrying about so much what Columbus is going to do, but worry about what the Voodoo is going to do. If we go out, a line blocks, I drive back, I throw the right ball, receivers make the right plays, we're tough to beat. Our defense is going to always be solid. Schmitz is an excellent kicker. We're going to be fine. It's just we got to concentrate and focus on ourselves.
And this team came out today gunning for you guys. This is a big squad, too, and they got physical throughout the whole game.
Yeah, but, that plays to our strength. If they want to play physical, our DBs are probably 2 of the most physical DBs in the league. And then you look at our line. I've said it from day one. They're not going to find a better 2-way line in the league. They really get after, I don't know how many sacks we had, 3 or 4 tonight. And then when you start looking at us running the ball, we have an excellent line. And we're going to be tough to stop if they want to play physical like that.
Thank you, John. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, John Fitzgerald down here. Let's go back upstairs.